Chapter 37. Slap me to death. Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue? Fu Biao flew into a rage, his murderous aura surged, and his face that was covered in frostbite warped, making him seem even more hideous and terrifying. What's so strange about slapping you to death? Jiang Tian approached him slowly and said disdainfully, "You're just a perfected internal force user. What's the big deal? Even if your master is here, I can still slap him to death. You must be tired of living. Fine, today I will kill all of you and show my master the power." Fu Biao clenched his fists. His eyes were filled with murderous intent, like a ferocious tiger that was about to devour its prey. In his mind, his master was like a god who could walk on water, leap over roofs and vault over walls, refine qi into energy, condense qi into weapons, injure people in the air, and destroy an armored car with one punch. In such a big country like Huaxia, his master could run amok, talk and laugh freely, but this kid in front of him actually dared to insult his master. He should really be crushed to ashes to vent his hatred. Jiang Tian, shut up. If you want to die, don't drag us down with you. Master Fu, it's just that Jiang Tian was disrespectful to you. We have already surrendered to you. Please spare our lives. Seeing that Fu Biao's ferocious nature had been aroused, the people of Zhenwei Martial Arts School began to criticize Jiang Tian and scrambled to kneel on the floor. See? That's the attitude you should have. Seeing this, Fu Biao smirked and pointed at Jiang Tian with disdain. Kid, you don't know your place. My master is a martial arts grandmaster. You can't even compare to his hair. Martial arts grandmaster. In my eyes, Kang Te Chu, you're just trash. Jiang Tian laughed and waved his finger. Immortal Martial 18 forms, Star River Break. Swoosh. His true essence condensed and formed into a giant sword that was about 8 meters long. It swept in all directions like a knife cutting through water. With a loud explosion, the wall next to Jiang Tian was cut open and completely collapsed. Violent winds poured in, raising tens of thousands of feet of dust. Everywhere the sword of energy passed, everything collapsed and turned into powder. It was a complete mess. When the dust settled, everyone looked at the terrifying hole and was dumbstruck. Their eyes bulged as if they were about to fall out of their eye sockets. Their mouths were so wide open that a fist could be stuffed in. Heavens, condensing qi into a weapon, and it's such a powerful and terrifying qi sword, Li Zhenwei was dumbfounded. His voice trembled as if he had seen a god. Could he be the legendary martial Dao Grandmaster? A transcendent state martial arts grandmaster was able to refine qi into righteousness and form qi into weapons. He was able to inflict damage from a distance and was invincible. They were as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns. Even in Huaxia, there were only a handful of them. All of them were magnates who ruled over a region, and they were on equal footing with the provincial leaders and the provincial officials. Moreover, even those famous martial Dao grandmasters could only condense a few wind blades and be destroyed in the blink of an eye. Unlike Jiang Tian, who had condensed his qi into a sword of energy, it was so powerful that it seemed to be able to slice open the sky. If he was not a martial Dao grandmaster, then who would dare to call himself a grandmaster? I have a sword that can cut open the Milky Way. Jiang Tian cracked a smile and put away the qi sword. He linked his hands behind his back and said calmly, "I wonder if I am qualified to fight with your master. Is he still human?" Dragon 5, Dragon Gadian, Li Zhenwei and the others rounded their eyes in disbelief. He is able to form a qi sword of about 8 meters long. He is like a demon god. The disciples of the Zhenwei Martial Arts Club were dumbfounded. Jiang Tian's strength was not what they could imagine at all. Master Kong is so powerful. Sister Dong Dong raised her arms and cheered. She had become Jiang Tian's loyal fan. He is a martial Dao grandmaster. Fu Biao was already scared out of his wits by Jiang Tian's Star River Break, and cold sweat poured out of his forehead. Although the difference between a martial Dao master and a martial Dao grandmaster was only one word, the difference in power was like heaven and earth. If he were to fight with Jiang Tian, he wouldn't even be able to withstand a single blow. In his early years, Fu Biao had roamed the streets and later became a disciple of a martial arts grandmaster. He had experienced countless battles in his life and was extremely experienced. Naturally, he understood the principle of fleeing thousands of miles away if he was not a match for his opponent. He didn't even bother to turn around. He stomped his feet on the ground, and with the help of the boundless recoil, he smashed through the glass window like a meteor and landed 10 meters away from the attic. He took big strides and ran for his life. A martial Dao grandmaster in his 20s. How is that possible? The scenery in front of Fu Biao's eyes flashed past rapidly. Fu Biao left an afterimage in the air as he roared madly in his heart. My master had been cultivating in Siberia for decades with the help of the Russian Northern Army. He had only reached the transcendent state at the age of 70. This kid is not a human being, he is a demon fetus. Fu Biao ran even faster out of fear. In a blink of an eye, he was already 100 meters away. Sigh, it's too late to run now. Jiang Tian stood by the window and shook his head with a wry smile. He raised his white fist and punched at Fu Biao's back. 100 meters away, Fu Biao's shirt was torn into pieces. Blood gushed out of his mouth as he was thrown backward. He fell to the ground like a dead dog and lay there motionless. A grandmaster is indeed something else. Condensing qi into a fist and killing someone from 100 meters away. So, the legends are true. Today, the old man has seen it with his own eyes. Seeing this, Li Jinwei cracked a smile. Although it was silent, it couldn't hide the pain in his heart. He had never seen a real grandmaster, but he had heard about them. His cultivation had stopped at the internal force level and he hadn't made any progress in the past 10 years. He even suspected that the legends were fabricated by his predecessors. But today, he believed it. Downstairs, Zhou Zhenghao was crawling up with his hands on his buttocks. He was shocked by what he saw. Fu Biao is dead. Was he killed by a sniper rifle? How could fifth brother be so powerful? He limped toward Fu Biao. When he saw that it was really Fu Biao, he kicked him and cursed. Fuck you. How dare you leave me like this? My ass almost got smashed from the fall. You've embarrassed your mother. Boss Zhou, he is not dead yet. Be careful. Jiang Tian's voice came from afar. Oh my god. Zhou Zhenghao was so scared that he jumped 3 feet away and ran toward the attic as if he was avoiding snakes and scorpions. Fifth brother dragon, who killed Fu Biao? You must reward him. Zhou Zhenghao shouted excitedly as soon as he entered the attic. Jiang Tian rolled his eyes and said, Boss Zhou, it seems that you have no confidence in me. Did you bring me here to be a bystander? What? You killed him. You are more powerful than Master Li Jinwei. Zhou Zhenghao was stunned. Boss Zhou, what are you talking about? How could an old man compare himself with Master Kong? You are trying to get me killed. Li Jinwei waved his hands in fear and then knelt in front of Jiang Tian like a loyal follower. He said nervously and shamefully, Grandmaster Jiang, you are a magnanimous person. Please forgive this old man for not being able to see Grandmaster Jiang's cultivation. Master Kong. Master Kong, please accept our respect. Many disciples of the Jinwei Martial Arts Club knelt down one after another. Their faces were full of nervousness and reverence. It was as if they were worshipping the demon god. In the world of martial arts, the strong were respected. Jiang Tian's cultivation was beyond their reach and even beyond their imagination. This time, they kowtowed sincerely. Master Kong, please accept me as your disciple. Long Gatian also knelt down and earnestly asked. Jiang Tian was not the kind of person who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. He reached out to help Li Jinwei up and said with a gentle smile, Master Jinwei, the ignorant are not guilty. Get up quickly. Grandmaster Jiang, how could I dare to call myself a grandmaster in front of you? Li Junwei was full of admiration for Jiang Tian, and he prostrated himself on all fours. At such a young age, his cultivation was earth-shattering. However, he was not afraid of anything and was approachable without any arrogance. He had practiced martial arts for dozens of years but had not developed such a peaceful temperament. He sighed at his own inferiority. You seem to have some internal injuries. I will give you a prescription to treat them. Jiang Tian connected his broken bones and fixed them with a piece of cloth from the table leg. Then he found a pen and paper and began to write the prescription. Looking at Jiang Tian's calligraphy, Li Junwei was moved to tears. He bowed deeply and said in the most admirable tone in his life, Master Kong, I was disrespectful to you when we met today. But you still connected my bones and treated my injuries. This kind of magnanimity really makes an old man. He choked with sobs. All kinds of feelings surged in his heart. He was full of admiration and gratitude. At this moment, he would not hesitate to die for Jiang Tian. We are all martial artists. You don't have to be so polite. Jiang Tian waved his hand with a smile. After writing the prescription, he gave it to Li Junwei. Master Li, take 1 dose a day. After a month, your cultivation should be restored by 70 to 80%. Thank you, Master Kong. I will never forget your kindness. Li Junwei once again knelt down to express his gratitude. Jiang Tian could do nothing about it. Grandmaster Zhang's methods, Xiaolong, truly admire them. Please come to the villa in front. Let's have a drink and start the banquet again. We will have a good drink. The enemy had been eliminated. Long Yi's heart fell to the ground. He bowed and made a gesture of invitation. He had a flattering smile on his face. He was the dignified underground emperor of Linzhou. He was already close to 50 years old. Usually, he was awe-inspiring and reserved. But at this moment, he made such a gesture in front of Jiang Tian. It was very comical. Okay, I am a little hungry. Jiang Tian slightly nodded and smiled faintly. Long Yi quickly led the way. Although Li Junwei's injuries were not light, it was a rare opportunity to make friends with a cultivation genius like Jiang Tian. Therefore, he insisted on attending the banquet. In a luxuriously decorated restaurant, under the light of the crystal chandelier, a large revolving round table was filled with delicacies, exotic delicacies, and several bottles of high-end red wine worth hundreds of thousands of yuan. Long Yi, Zhou Zhenghao, Long Gaitian, and Li Junwei accompanied Jiang Tian. They drank and talked happily, pouring out their admiration. Long Gaitian, the famous top young master in Linzhou, was only qualified to serve Jiang Tian tea and wine. Master Kong, from now on, you are my big brother. The hundreds of brothers of Longwei Association will listen to Mr. Kang's orders. Dragon Fifth patted his chest loudly and said with excitement and admiration, Grandmaster Jiang, if you're interested, you'll be the president of the Dragon Might Association from now on. I'll give you half of my family's property. Chapter 38. Dragon Fifth was forthright and astute. He had a clear plan. What kind of person was Jiang Tian? He was a dragon among men. If they had Jiang Tian as their backer, the Longwei Association would be able to dominate Lingnan within 10 years. Their assets would expand by 10 times. Even if he had to share half of it, it would still be a profit. Hearing this, everyone looked at Jiang Tian with envy and admiration. Their hearts were full of sighs. Jiang Tian was able to control the Longwei Association at such a young age. Zhou Zhenghao had been around for so long, but he only had a family business of 1 billion. Compared to Jiang Tian, it was nothing. Forget it, I'm not interested in these things. Jiang Tian declined politely. Of course, he knew that there were great benefits to running a force. But if it was tied too tightly, it would be a responsibility and burden. If something happened to Dragon Fifth and the others, he would definitely stand up for them and delay his own cultivation. Master Kong, please don't despise us. Although we don't have much ability, it's not a problem for us to take care of business in the secular world. Dragon Fifth was instantly heartbroken. His eyes were slightly red. This was the first time he had encountered a situation where he couldn't even give out money. Yes, Master Kong, we were born in the wilderness. We're half white and half black, but we also pay attention to the word loyalty. Zhou Zhenghao begged bitterly, brother, please don't blame me. If you become our boss, we'll definitely go through fire and water for you, Master Kong. Do I need you to go through fire and water for me? Jiang Tian rolled his eyes. He thought to himself, it's more like I'm the one protecting you. Dragon Fifth and brother, stop dreaming. At this time, Li Jinwei said coldly, what kind of person is Master Kong? Why would he care about your small amount of money? Don't cry anymore and annoy Master Kong. Okay, I won't talk nonsense. Master Kong, I'll toast you again. Dragon Fifth looked helpless and frowned. Long Gaetian leaned over and whispered, Master Jinwei, what does Master Kong need? Our Long Wei Association should express our gratitude, shouldn't we? For martial artists, money is only a way to obtain cultivation resources, but the ultimate goal is still cultivation resources. Li Jinwei spoke tirelessly. Then, he let out a long sigh and shook his head with a bitter smile. But now, with the prosperity of science and technology, the environment has been destroyed, and the inheritance of the ancient times has been cut off. Those spiritual herbs, Dharma artifacts, and spiritual qi are very rare. Most of the time, they are priceless. Hearing this, Dragon Fifth suddenly frowned and said, Master Kong, have you heard of the Divine Stone of Life? Stone of Life? What's so special about it? Jiang Tian was slightly moved, and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. I heard it from Myanmar's King of Kogan. He once found one, and after wearing it, he felt refreshed and energized. Long Yi said excitedly. This kind of divine stone is produced in a place called White Ape Valley in the 100,000 mountains of Miaojiang. Divine Stone of Life? I have heard of it before. Li Jinwei's eyes lit up and said, if one wears it often, it can strengthen one's bones and strengthen one's bloodline. However, the White Ape Valley is guarded by a ferocious giant ape. Even an internal force grandmaster or a transcendent state grandmaster would die on the spot if they encountered it. This divine stone of life is something. Jiang Tian nodded slightly as a thoughtful look appeared in his eyes. By now, he had a very deep understanding of the cultivation system of martial artists. The cultivation method of martial artists was much simpler than that of cultivators. Usually, martial artists could only consume elixirs and use their digestive system to strengthen their bodies and cultivate their qi. However, they couldn't absorb the spirit qi in the world or the spirit qi in the jade and crystal stones like cultivators. However, the divine stone of life could nourish a martial artist's body. It was a testament to the power of this stone. That's right, Dragon Fifth said with a trembling voice. The king of Guogan said that last time, he brought dozens of fully armed gunmen to White Ape Valley and only got a rock the size of a finger. Even then, quite a few of them died. Deep fear appeared on Dragon Fifth's face as his voice trembled. Dragon Fifth, what does the divine stone of life look like? Jiang Tian asked. Senior Master, look at this. This is a picture taken by the king of Guogan. Dragon Fifth took out his phone and pulled out a photo. He said in astonishment, the 100,000 mountains of Miaojiang has a subtropical climate. Furthermore, it's summer, and the temperature is as high as 40 degrees. But this valley is actually covered in ice and snow. In the picture, there was a lush mountain range in the distance. The trees were lush and wild flowers swayed in the wind. However, there was a snowstorm nearby. The river was frozen and the trees were covered in ice. It was like a world of ice in a fairy tale. Strange. Jiang Tian was taken aback. He furrowed his brows and scanned the picture. Oh my God, this is an ice crystal. When he saw the ice and snow, he did not care. However, when he saw the fist-sized jade embedded in the mountain rock, as well as the white cold air surrounding the jade, Jiang Tian's expression could not help but change as he screamed in his heart. There were 5 elements in nature: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. If one could gather all 5 elements, they could set up a spirit-gathering formation. Especially on Earth where spirit chi was thin, a spirit-gathering formation was crucial. Only by using a spirit-gathering formation to gather the thin spirit chi could it be absorbed and used. As for the ice crystal, it was a crystal of the water element. It was very rare even in the outer space. Can you find the White Ape Valley? Jiang Tian was tempted. He was determined to find the ice crystal. The 100,000 Mountains is an unknown no man's land. It is very mysterious and dangerous. This valley is too small. It is not marked on the map. Dragon Fifth said. But the king of Guogan once went there. Since Master Kong wants to go, I will ask. He immediately stood up and made a call to the king of Guogan. Although he purposely lowered his voice, Jiang Tian could still hear him clearly. The king of Guogan raised the price. Just for the location, he asked Dragon Fifth for 10 million. A moment later, Dragon Fifth returned with a GPS location and a route saved in his phone. The ice crystal is so precious, but it is rarely circulated on the market. It can be seen that the White Ape Valley is very dangerous. After the banquet ended, Jiang Tian returned to his residence. He sat in meditation and frowned. That white ape should be a demon beast. It seems that I need to make some preparations. I need to stabilize my cultivation and refine the warding off evil golden sword before leaving. 5 days quickly passed. Jiang Tian waved his hand. The warding off evil golden swords flew into the air and formed a golden sword. Go! Jiang Tian slashed with his fingers. With a swoosh, the golden sword flashed and broke through the air, cutting a fake mountain in the yard into pieces. Good. My cultivation of Qi Disciple Level 2 has been fully stabilized. With this golden sword, even if there is a demon beast, I can kill it with a single slash. Jiang Tian walked out of the villa with confidence. Li Jinwei immediately greeted him with a face full of joy. Mr. Jiang, can we leave now? You want to go too? Jiang Tian smiled. To be able to follow Master Kong and work with him, even if I die, I am willing to die. Li Jinwei said with a smile. Also, I have an old friend in the 100,000 Mountains who can lead the way for us. How's your arm? Will it be okay? Jiang Tian glanced at his arm and asked. Grandmaster Zhang's prescription is really amazing. My arm has already healed, and my cultivation has also completely recovered. It's definitely not a problem to help Grandmaster. Li Jinwei patted his chest loudly. Good. Then come with me. Jiang Tian nodded and agreed. In fact, Zhou Zhenghao and Dong Dong also wanted to follow Jiang Tian and help Jiang Tian. But this time, Jiang Tian firmly refused. This operation was very dangerous, and the future was uncertain. The two of them would be a complete burden if they joined in the fun. After Dragon Fifth took care of Fu Biao, he had to return to Lin Zhou to reorganize his forces and continue to be the underground emperor. Zhou Zhenghao followed him back to Lin Zhou. Before they left, Dragon Fifth said worriedly, the king of Guogan also said that White Ape Valley is very dangerous. Do you want me to assign a few gunmen to accompany Master Kong? No need. Jiang Tian waved his hand and refused. If you want to repay me for saving your life, then help me take care of someone. Who? I dare not disobey the orders of my savior. Dragon Fifth said solemnly. Zhao Huqing's daughter, Zhao Xueqing. Jiang Tian said the name that haunted him. Zhao Huqing is just a third-rate tycoon. Master Kong is a godlike figure. How does he know his daughter? Dragon Fifth was suspicious, but he did not dare to ask. He quickly said, Master Kong, don't worry. Leave everything to me. I will send experts to guard her. If anything happens to Miss Xiao, I will bring my head to you. And so, Jiang Tian parted ways with Dragon Fifth and Zhou Zhenghao in Snakehead Town, and led Li Jinwei on the road to find the ice crystals. After a few hours of rugged mountain roads, the off-road vehicle entered Shirwan Mountain. In the evening, the off-road vehicle stopped in a small mountain village with smoke rising from the chimneys. Li Jinwei came to a small courtyard with a bamboo fence, knocked on the wooden door, and shouted, "Old man, open the door." Jiang Tian looked around the small courtyard. There were stone locks, wooden dummies, sandbags, weapon racks, and other traditional tools inside. There was also a rockery that was taller than a person. After a while, the door was pulled open from the inside with a creak. A beautiful, tall, and beautiful woman rushed out from inside and almost bumped into Li Jinwei. The beautiful woman raised her eyebrows and scolded, "Old man, are you looking for trouble? Don't you have eyes? Stupid girl, don't you know how to respect your elders? When you came out, didn't your parents teach you?" Li Jinwei was a little angry. He put on the posture of a martial Dao master, with his hands behind his back and chest out, and scolded coldly. "Oh, isn't this Master Li Jinwei? Can't you just stay in Foshan? Are you here to behave atrociously?" Suddenly, along with a gloomy voice, a man wearing a blue robe, crotchless trousers, hemp shoes, and a bamboo basket at his waist slowly walked out with a cold smile. Seeing this man, Li Jinwei was shocked. Fear appeared on his face, and he smiled stiffly. "Isn't this Elder Lan of the Five Poison Sect? Sorry for the disrespect." "Humph. Be careful, this is Miaojiang, not Lingnan. You don't have the right to behave atrociously." Elder Lan's face was full of contempt. He whistled and walked past Li Jinwei. At this moment, a green shadow shot out from the bamboo basket at his waist and shot toward Li Jinwei like an arrow. Chapter 39. Ouch! Li Jinwei screamed as he tried to grab something, but to his surprise, he caught nothing. The green shadow landed on his neck. It was a green bamboo snake that was as long as a chopstick. Li Jinwei jumped in fright, a chill running down his spine as he tried to grab at his neck with both hands, but the green bamboo snake was extremely nimble, flying around his shoulders, head, arms, chest, and back at an incomparably fast speed. Li Jinwei's face turned pale as he knew that the poisonous snake was extremely terrifying. He tried to grab it with both hands, but the snake was 10 times faster than him. "Hee hee, Elder Blue's little green snake is so cute. Wonderful." The beautiful woman looked at Li Jinwei playfully and clapped her hands. Suddenly, a lame old man with a walking stick walked out and said angrily, "Elder Blue, how dare you harm my brother? Don't even think that I'll lead the way for you. Squeak, little green, come back." Elder Blue whistled and the little snake flew back into the bamboo basket. He looked at Li Jinwei with disdain and smiled at the lame old man. "Ghost kick, I was just joking with Master Jinwei." Li Jinwei was still angry. He cursed resentfully, "If he really wants to compete with me, I'll slap him to death. This woman is also a bastard." "Humph. Forget it, Brother Wei. We can't afford to offend this woman. She's the daughter of Nanyang's Guo family, Guo Lily." The crippled old man immediately grabbed Li Jinwei's arm and said in a low voice, "What? Nanyang's Guo family?" Li Jinwei's pupils shrunk as he heard this. Nanyang's Guo family was a Chinese tycoon in Singapore. They conquered Nanyang with a straw mat and now dominated the list of the world's richest Chinese people. The Guo family was a century-old family involved in ocean shipping, hotels, finance, and many other fields. Their assets were in the hundreds of billions. When the Guo family was at its peak, they were in the top 10 list of the world's richest Chinese people several times. Even with the rise of the internet and the emergence of many new tycoons, the Guo family was still ranked in the top 20 or 30. Once the leaders of Hua Xia came to Singapore for a state visit, they would definitely stay at the Guo family mansion. This showed how influential the Guo family was in politics. At most, Li Junwei still had some reputation in Lingnan, but he was nothing compared to such a rich and powerful family. How could he afford to offend them? Nanyang Guo family. No wonder even the elders of the Five Poison sect were able to serve as her followers. However, why are they also looking for this frost crystal? Are they also cultivators? Jiang Tian's eyes flickered as he frowned and pondered. The Guo family of Nanyang was famous in the Chinese world. They were so rich that even the Prime Minister of Singapore had to look up to them. Jiang Tian suddenly remembered that in his previous life, old Master Guo had passed away this year due to a serious illness. It was even on the news at that time. It's the Guo family of Nanyang. Li Junwei's heart skipped a beat, and he could only look at Jiang Tian for help, hoping that Jiang Tian would help him get back his face. However, Jiang Tian turned a blind eye and had no intention of fighting with Elder Blue. He even took 2 steps back, and Li Junwei could only smile bitterly. Seeing Jiang Tian and Li Junwei take the initiative to retreat, the beautiful woman's face showed some disdain. She looked at the crippled man and said, "Ghost Kick, think about it carefully. If you lead the way for me tomorrow, I will give you 10 million. If you refuse again, I will find someone else." After saying that, she left with Elder Blue. "Old Ghost, why did they ask you to lead the way?" Li Junwei asked in surprise. "Recently, she has been entrenched in the village. She repeatedly asked me to lead the way to the White Ape Valley." Ghost Kick helplessly shook his head. "Maybe she wants to use the frost crystal to treat old Master Guo's illness." Jiang Tian's heart flashed with a trace of understanding. "Master Kong, let's go in and talk." Li Junwei bowed slightly and asked Jiang Tian for instructions. "Okay." Jiang Tian nodded and entered the low thatched cottage with the 2 of them. After sitting down, Ghost Kick served 2 cups of tea and asked, "Brother Wei, you've earned a lot of money from opening a school in Foshan. You can even drink and chat with the secretary of the municipal party committee. Why did you come to visit me?" "To tell you the truth, we are also here for the divine stone of life. We want to go to the White Ape Valley," Li Junwei said. "Ah." Ghost Kick was shocked and said anxiously, "Are you crazy? How do you know how terrifying the White Ape is? Have you forgotten how my leg was crippled?" "Ghost Kick, don't worry. This time, Master Kong is here. We will definitely return with a full load," Li Junwei said. "Nonsense." Ghost Kick slammed the table and shouted, "When I went to the White Ape Valley, I was also at the peak of inner strength cultivation. However, the White Ape broke one of his legs like a chick and tossed him 10 meters away. Even now, my leg is still crippled. No matter how many miracle doctors I have seen, it is useless." He pointed at Jiang Tian and sneered, "How old is this kid? What cultivation does he have? Isn't going to the White Ape Valley looking for death? Don't make a mistake. Go back." "Hee hee." Jiang Tian chuckled and suddenly walked to the side of the rockery in the courtyard. The rockery was as tall as 2 people. It was difficult for one person to wrap their arms around it. It was made of Taihu stone and weighed thousands of pounds. Jiang Tian circled around it and nodded with satisfaction. Suddenly, he stretched out his hand and his 5 fingers were like sharp claws, deeply embedded into the rock. Ouch! Ghost Kick was shocked and bounced up from the chair, his face full of shock. In the next moment, Jiang Tian's aura skyrocketed, and he lifted up the entire fake mountain. His face did not change at all. His eyes were still clear and charming. His breath was long and steady. Hiss! Ghost Kick sucked in a breath of cold air. His face changed and his eyes widened as if he had seen a celestial being. This rockery weighed several thousand kilograms. Back then, it had crushed the tires of the transport truck, but Jiang Tian had lifted it up so easily. Even if he was once a phenomenal success inner force cultivator, he could only lift a few 100 pounds of rock at his peak. Dong! Jiang Tian took a step forward. The bluestone ground trembled violently and cracked inch by inch. A footprint appeared. Dong! Jiang Tian took another step forward, and then turned around. He waved one hand. The rockery flew out of the courtyard as if it were made of plastic foam. It shook the ground and the mountain, sending a cloud of dust into the air. Jiang Tian clapped his hands and returned to the living room. He sat down and smiled. Senior Ghost, don't worry. Since I'm here, I'm confident. Even if I can't kill the white ape, I should be able to escape, right? Master Kong can move a mountain with a wave of his hand. This old man is impressed. Ghost Kick was filled with awe. He cupped his fists and bowed deeply. He said in the most respectful tone he had ever used in his life, I am not your senior in front of Master Kong. You can just call me Old Ghost. Old Ghost, are you relieved now? Li Jinwei cracked a smile and said, Grandmaster Jiang is a true transcendent grandmaster. He is able to form qi condensation weapons and attack people from 100 meters away. What's so scary about a hairy beast? Transcendent Grandmaster. How is that possible? Ghost Kick was shocked. He had thought Jiang Tian was born with superhuman strength. He had never thought that he had reached the transcendent state. A transcendent grandmaster was a tycoon who ruled over a region. Even the government officials were wary of them. Ghost Kick was also a veteran martial arts master, but he had never heard of Jiang Tian. Moreover, the path of martial arts was like sailing against the current. It was full of difficulties and obstacles. Even the most talented martial artists could not reach the internal force level before 30, let alone the transcendent state. Old Ghost, I saw it with my own eyes. Why would I lie to you? Li Jinwei glared at him and then said with a smile, Come on, go prepare some food. We will depart tomorrow. With Grandmaster Zhang's strength, he can naturally contend with the white ape, but... Ghost Kick's expression was awkward. Go ahead. Jiang Tian said gently. The Guo family of Nanyang has asked me to lead the way. If we go tomorrow, I am afraid they will follow us. Ghost Kick said, also, they are determined to get the divine stone of life. I am afraid a fight is inevitable. Ha, what a joke. How can they compete with Master Kong? They will only be cannon fodder if they go. Li Jinwei sneered and said, If you ask me, you should accept the reward and promise to lead the way for them. But tell them in advance that we will be going together. Otherwise, no deal. Well, I will talk to them about it. Ghost Kick frowned and pondered for a moment. Then he nodded and went out to find the Guo family. A moment later, Ghost Kick came back and said, Brother Wei, you guessed right. They agreed. Good, then let's eat our fill. We will depart tomorrow morning. Li Jinwei said excitedly. Okay. You guys drink tea, I'll cook. I have good quality cured meat, free-range chicken, and home-brewed grain wine. Although it's simple, it's natural and pollution-free. Ghost Kick limped away to get busy. Don't worry. Seeing the other party's enthusiasm, Jiang Tian immediately had a good impression of him. He said, Let me treat your leg. What? Grandmaster Jiang also knows medicine. Ghost Kick was surprised, he couldn't believe it. Medicine, sorcery, and ancient martial arts were the three most difficult fields in the world of cultivation. Many people were only good at one field in their whole life. All-round talents only existed in legends. What are you talking about? What do you mean he knows medicine? Li Jinwei's face was immediately filled with reverence as he said, Grandmaster Zhang's medical skills have long reached the peak of perfection. I was seriously injured some time ago. Master Kong set my bones and used Chinese medicine to treat me. I recovered in 5 days. Okay. Then Master Kong, please take a look at me. Ghost Kick pulled a chair over and sat in front of Jiang Tian. He pulled up his pants. His muscles were atrophied and there was no vitality. His meridians and acupoints were blocked. His blood flow was not smooth. He could not feel his nerves. Moreover, there was a fire poison energy in it. Under high temperature, it made the tissues lose their ability to regenerate. No wonder so many doctors were useless. But how could this be a problem for Jiang Tian? He took out a few silver needles from his bag and flicked them with his fingers. Chi! 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 The silver needles were shot into the meridians and acupoints on Ghost Kick's calf. After that, Jiang Tian twirled the silver needles and slowly pierced them in. His movements were as smooth as flowing water as he poured in strands of true essence. Chapter 40. Strange, I can actually feel a burning sensation, as if I'm on fire. Ghost Kick's eyes were wide open, his face was full of shock and disbelief. For many years, he had seen many famous doctors and used all kinds of treatment methods, but he could not feel his injured leg at all. But now, Jiang Tian just lightly pricked him and he could feel it. Moreover, his leg was much more relaxed. A hot stream of air was washing away the blockages in his meridians and acupuncture points, nourishing his muscles and bones. Yes, under the nourishment of Jiang Tian's true yuan, the broken bones were regenerated, the meridians were unobstructed, and the blood essence was flowing. Try walking 2 steps. Jiang Tian only used 15 minutes to finish the acupuncture and put away the silver needles. Okay, I'll try. Ghost Kick threw away his walking stick, and with a little effort, he actually stood up. His face was full of joy, he took a deep breath, lifted his injured leg, and with a bang, he took a step forward. It's done! Ghost Kick and Li Jinwei exclaimed. At first, Ghost Kick was still a little shaky and stiff. But later, he walked more and more smoothly, and in the end, his steps were as if he was flying, nimble and free. Senior old ghost, you can try kicking that stone lock. Jiang Tian smiled and encouraged him. Ghost Kick arrived in front of the stone lock and used his chi to kick. With a bang, a stone lock weighing dozens of kilograms flew out of the courtyard and fell into the valley. Heavens, I'm healed, I'm really healed. Ghost Kick's face was full of shock, and his heart was full of excitement. He looked up to the sky and shouted, his face was full of tears. His name, Ghost Kick, once resounded throughout the Jianghu, the authentic successor of the 12 Paths of Tan Tui, known for his leg martial arts. But 10 years ago, when he went to the White Ape Valley to find the divine stone of life, his right leg was broken and never recovered. Since then, he was disheartened, and concealed his identity in the 100,000 mountains, not caring about Jianghu matters. But today, Jiang Tian actually cured his injured leg, and even his cultivation was restored. How could he not be excited? Congratulations, brother old ghost, you've recovered today, and in the future, you'll definitely revive Ghost Kick's divine power and shock the world. Li Jinwei put away his shock, and cupped his fists to congratulate him. Plop! Ghost Kick actually knelt down in front of Jiang Tian, wailing, Master Kong, you are my second parent. As he said this, he kowtowed like he was pounding garlic, prostrating himself on the ground. It's just a small matter. There's no need to be so polite. Jiang Tian smiled and helped him up, not taking it to heart at all. He had only consumed a little bit of his true essence, which was incomparable to the amount he had consumed to heal Zhao Xueqing's body. That night, Jiang Tian rested at Ghost Kick's house. One of the best guest rooms was given to Jiang Tian. The 100,000 mountains was densely covered with forests and rich in negative oxygen ions. Jiang Tian didn't sleep at all. He sat cross-legged in meditation and absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. The primal chaos creation incantation was a supreme cultivation technique. It could even absorb the poisonous miasma aura and convert it into true yuan. It could swallow the sun, moon, and stars in one breath. A single breath could destroy the world. Early the next morning, the eastern horizon was suffused with the color of a fish belly. A cloud of purple mist was surging. Purple chi from the east. Jiang Tian opened his eyes. His pupils flickered like lightning, revealing their sharpness. Hu chi. Jiang Tian spat out a mouthful of turbid air. He felt that his true essence was more stable and condensed. He sighed in his heart, a place full of spiritual energy can greatly increase the speed of cultivation. If I can arrange a spirit gathering array, I can also advance 1,000 miles in a day. Jiang Tian's expectations for the ice crystals and spirit gathering array also increased. He had only cultivated for a night in the 100,000 mountains, and he had made such progress. If he could arrange a spirit gathering array, the effect would be even stronger. Master Kong. Li Jinwei called from outside. Coming. Jiang Tian washed his face and walked out of the door. Outside, Li Jinwei and Ghost Kick were already prepared. Both of them wore hiking shoes, leggings, and stiff clothes covered in pine oil. Their bags were filled with dry food, and they carried mattresses, 2 machetes, ropes, and so on. Master Kong, have a light meal. Ghost Kick brought breakfast to the table, millet porridge, sesame seed cakes, and preserved meat. After eating hastily, Jiang Tian and the others walked out of the door. 2 off-road vehicles were already waiting for them. More than a dozen burly men and Elder Blue surrounded Guo Lily as they stood beside the vehicles. These burly men wore camouflage combat uniforms, bulletproof vests, steel helmets, anti-stun night vision goggles, loaded guns, and combat daggers tied to their legs. They were majestic and murderous. Elder Blue, thank you for your hard work this time. Guo Lily was respectful to Elder Blue as if she was seeing a god. Miss Guo, you're too polite. I'm just taking your money to solve your problem. Elder Blue waved his hand. Seeing Jiang Tian come out, Guo Lily immediately laughed disdainfully. I didn't expect you to go to White Ape Valley. Are you going to die? Guo Lily's skin was fair, her eyes were clear, and her lips were red like flames. Her hiking clothes perfectly outlined her tall figure, making her curvy figure even more alluring. But in Jiang Tian's eyes, even if Guo Lily was a heavenly beauty, she couldn't compare to a strand of Zhao Xueqing's hair. He ignored her and got into the off-road vehicle. This kid is so arrogant. Do you think I won't beat you up? One of the burly men had a ferocious face. He rolled up his sleeves and scolded angrily. Wen Fei used to be the ace soldier of a special force in Huaxia. After he retired, he was hired by the Guo family with 5 comrades and became their private guard. This time, he was in charge of the operation in White Ape Valley. He was responsible for killing demon beasts and obtaining divine stones of life. The reward was 2 million. He had an arrogant personality. Seeing Jiang Tian's indifferent attitude, he immediately became furious. Forget it. They're just cannon fodder. Guo Lily disdained. Cannon fodder? Jiang Tian rolled down the window and laughed disdainfully. You guys can't even hurt a hair on the demon beast, let alone kill it. Instead, you'll be eaten like desserts. He shook his head. These people didn't know the horror of demon beasts. Kid, look carefully. Wen Fei pulled the bolt of the heavy machine gun and sneered. We're equipped with heavy firepower. Howitzers, heavy machine guns, and sniper rifles are all available. Demon beasts my ass. Even if Ultraman came, I'd beat him to death in a matter of minutes. Ha, you want to hurt demon beasts with these few sticks? If you want to enter the valley, I won't stop you. You'll regret it when the time comes. Jiang Tian waved his hand. Li Jinwei started the car, leaving Wen Fei and the others with a trail of arrogant exhaust. Everyone was furious and kept cursing. Alright, stop talking nonsense. Let's move. Guo Lily ordered and led everyone into the car. A few off-road vehicles quickly followed. The mountain road was steep and uneven. The car bumped from time to time and the people in the car were swayed. On one side of the mountain road was a bottomless cliff surrounded by clouds. Once someone fell into it, they would be smashed into pieces. On the other side was a cliff. From time to time, there would be basketball-sized rocks rolling down. It was dangerous everywhere. Sometimes, the mountain road was too narrow. They could only slow down the car and carefully brush against the cliff. After all, Guolili was the daughter of a rich family. She had never seen such a scene. She was so scared that her face turned pale and cold sweat dripped down. Her eyebrows were tightly knitted together. She clenched her fist and didn't dare to look at the side of the cliff. This time, we must find the ice crystal. Grandpa is seriously ill. The doctor said that he can't live past this year. Only the ice crystal can save him. If I get the ice crystal and save Grandpa, my status in the family will also rise. Even if I'm the son of a mistress, I can still manage a few big companies and hold my head high. Guolili kept encouraging herself in her heart. Her mind was filled with thoughts. Suddenly, Jiang Tian's off-road vehicle in front of them stopped. Everyone got out of the car to take a look. A huge boulder that weighed several hundred kilograms was lying across the narrow mountain path. It had rolled down from the peak of the mountain due to the eruption of the mudslide some time ago. It had blocked the path completely. Master, there's a huge rock in front of us. Li Junwei reported to Jiang Tian and was about to get out of the car to deal with it. What's so difficult about that? Trash, you can't do it. Let me do it. Wen Fei strode forward and took a deep breath. Then, with a loud shout, he kicked the rock. Boom! The huge rock flew into the air like a football. It flew for more than 3 meters before it fell into the cliff. Brother Fei, good move. Guolili clapped her hands and cheered. She did not forget to look at Jiang Tian and the others proudly. Unexpectedly, Jiang Tian and the others' expressions did not change. They were as calm as an ancient well. Jiang Tian was even dozing off. Guolili was frustrated when she did not see the shock and fear she expected. She snorted and said, "Keep pretending. I'll see how long you can pretend." That's funny. Master Kong can even move a 10,000-kilogram huge rock. What's this small rock? Li Junwei retorted. In his mind, Jiang Tian was the supreme existence. How could Guolili and the others blaspheme him? A 10,000-kilogram huge rock. What's so funny about that? Wen Fei did not believe it at all. He said sarcastically, "I'm already at the peak of the iron body stage, but I can only lift a few hundred kilograms of rock." What's his cultivation level? Is he a martial arts master? Bragging without a draft. Forget it, Junwei. Don't bother with them. Let's go. Jiang Tian waved his hand to stop Li Junwei, who still wanted to argue with them. They set off again. Unknowingly, it was already night time. Night fell. Everyone set up camp on an open hillside. They rested for the night and recharged their energy. They would set off tomorrow. Li Junwei cut down the shrubs, laid down the moisture-proof mattress and bedding, and took down the dry food. Ah, Fei, you go test him. Guolili gave Wen Fei a look. Wen Fei immediately understood. A trace of ridicule flashed across his face. He came to Jiang Tian and the others, pulled open his pants and peed on the dry food and bedding. What are you doing? Are you looking for trouble? Ghost Kick saw this and was furious. He put his hands on his waist and shouted angrily. Sorry, I didn't see clearly. Wen Fei smiled but did not have any intention of apologizing. He continued to pee on the dry food and bedding. Who do you think you are? Even if your instructor came, he wouldn't dare to be rash with me. Li Junwei was furious. He rolled up his sleeves and was about to attack. Forget it. We're all moving together. Don't argue anymore. Jiang Tian waved his hand and stopped Li Junwei. Not to mention Wen Fei, even Elder Blue was just an ant that Jiang Tian could casually crush. However, Jiang Tian's trip this time was to obtain the frost crystal stone. It was meaningless to argue with them. Wen Fei returned to Guolili's side and shook his head mockingly. Miss Gua, I'm afraid this kid has no cultivation at all. He's trash. He's definitely not an expert. If he was an expert, he wouldn't be able to hold himself back. Yes, and he's a coward. Guo Lily thought so too. Disdain was written all over her face as she said, "There's no need to get rid of them. If we get the divine stone of life, he won't dare to come and snatch it." Chapter 41. At this moment, 3 gunshots came from the forest. It was so quick that it made people wonder if they had time to aim. Not long after, a muscular man in camouflage with a Barrett sniper rifle jumped out of the forest. He threw out 3 fat and big hares and said with a smile, "Miss, I've caught 3 mountain jumps. Let's give Miss a good meal." "Eagle Eye, you're really something." 3 shots, 3 hares, not a single bullet missed its mark. Great precision. Wen Fei punched the kid and said with a smile. The sniper Eagle Eye had carried out several anti-terrorist beheading operations and had never missed a shot. He was a famous sharpshooter in the military region. "What's a rabbit? I can even kill a martial arts expert," Eagle Eye said proudly. "My home is on the Songhua River, there are soybeans and sorghum all over the mountains." The heavy cannoneer, Mountain Pow, picked up the hare and cleaned it. He then used a branch to skewer it. On the other side, Wen Fei had already started a bonfire and was roasting it. He sprinkled some salt and pepper and smeared some oil. Soon, the tempting smell of the rabbit wafted into his nose. "This rabbit meat is not bad, chewy, and has a fragrance. Miss Gua, Elder Lan, try it." The few of them ate and drank while bragging about their heroic deeds in the past. Guo Lily also lit up an alcohol stove and brewed coffee. She sat on a small folding stool and drank it with relish, very much like a young lady of the bourgeoisie. These bastards, they really know how to enjoy themselves. Li Jinwei was so angry that he vomited blood. His food was dirty and he was so hungry that his stomach was growling. After Wen Fei and the rest finished their meal, there was still a rabbit left. However, they didn't give it to Jiang Tian and directly threw it into the valley. After dinner, everyone started to rest. Wen Fei and the rest were experienced in surviving in the wild. They started a bonfire and set up tents. They took turns to rest and one of them was on guard with a gun to prevent wild boars and other beasts from disturbing them. "Old Devil Jinwei, you guys go rest in the car first. It's too cold outside." Jiang Tian suddenly opened his eyes and said with a smile. Their bedding was wet and smelly. They couldn't use it at all. The altitude here was very high, and the temperature was very low. The mountain wind whistled, and the leaves were dripping with water. It was extremely humid, and no one could resist it. "That won't do. Master Kong, go rest in the car. We'll guard outside." Li Jinwei and Li Qiye had long regarded Jiang Tian as a god. How could they let Jiang Tian freeze outside the car? "It's all right." Jiang Tian took out a medicinal pill and gave it to the 2 of them, saying, "Swallow it. It can resist the cold and fill your stomach." After the 2 swallowed it, they immediately felt that the aura in their bodies was abundant. The feeling of hunger disappeared without a trace. They couldn't help but click their tongues in wonder. Then, they got into the car to rest. This cocky guy should be frozen to death. The next morning, at the first glimmer of dawn. After Guo Lily woke up, she saw Jiang Tian sitting on a piece of bluestone. She could not help but be shocked. Amidst the howling cold wind, Jiang Tian sat cross-legged with his eyes closed, motionless like a statue. "I didn't realize that this kid was actually quite handsome." Guo Lily leaned over and saw that Jiang Tian's face was like jade. His nose was straight and his mouth was square. His eyelashes were very long, and his slightly long black hair fluttered in the wind. Jiang Tian suddenly opened his eyes and said calmly, "Miss Gua, is there something I can help you with? I thought you were asleep. You gave me a fright." Guo Lily patted her chest and took a few steps back in fright. "Oh." Jiang Tian closed his eyes again. Guo Lily clicked her tongue in wonder. This kid sat outside for an entire night, and he didn't freeze to death? Could it be that he had some cultivation? After some rest, the group set off again. By noon, there were no more mountain paths, so they could only abandon the car and walk into White Ape Valley. Water dripped from the trees that covered the sky, and vines as thick as an arm wrapped around them. The forest was filled with white fog, and visibility was very low. The air was filled with a strange smell of rotten branches and leaves. The group walked through the forest that was full of humus. Every step they took created a circle of muddy water. The bushes were dense, and thorns grew everywhere. They slanted to the side, making it even more difficult for the group to walk. Jiang Tian and the others were fine. They were all wearing clothes covered in pine oil, so the thorns couldn't pierce through them at all. However, Guo Lily was miserable. Her mountaineering clothes were torn several times by the thorns, leaving spots of blood on her snow-white skin. "Old ghost, what kind of path are you looking for? Look at how you've pricked our young miss," Wen Fei said angrily. "This is the only path. There are no other paths. If you're afraid of trouble, then go back." Ghost Kick was very unhappy with them. He couldn't be bothered to pay attention to them. These small fries dared to disrespect Master Kong. "What are you talking about? We've already paid," Mountain Pao said angrily. His face was full of anger. "Hee, what's so difficult about that? I'll lead the way." Elder Blue took out 2 pieces of yellow paper from his pocket. After unfolding them, they turned out to be 2 paper dolls holding knives. On top of them, there were runes drawn with blood and cinnabar. They looked terrifying. 10,000 miles curse, gather power on the runes. Elder Blue formed a hand seal and chanted. After a while, he pointed at the paper dolls and said, "Come." The 2 paper dolls bent their legs and rushed out. They swung the paper knives and slashed down. Chi chi chi. Sharp sounds were heard. Vines and thorns danced in the air. The 2 paper dolls actually opened up a path. Everyone was dumbfounded by what they saw. "Elder Blue, what kind of technique is this? It's too magical. The paper dolls can open up a path. This doesn't make sense." Wen Fei, Mountain Pao, and the others exclaimed. They couldn't believe it. After Guo Lily exclaimed, she cupped her fists and bowed to Elder Blue. She said respectfully, "Elder Blue is really a god. I admire you very much. This time, with Elder Blue's help, we will definitely succeed. Hee, it's just a small trick. It's not worth mentioning." Elder Blue proudly waved his hand, then glanced at Jiang Tian and the other 2 in disdain, and said disdainfully, "Trash, we're going ahead first. You guys better not fall behind." Could it be that he has reached the ethereal enlightenment state? Although Elder Blue was mocking him, Li Jinwei knew that he was no match for him. He lowered his head and didn't dare to fight back. No. He has only reached the ethereal enlightenment state. Jiang Tian shook his head and said, he did not use the chi of heaven and earth. It's the blood curse technique. Blood curse technique? What is that? Li Jinwei and Ghost Kick asked in surprise. It's a secret technique. He uses the blood of a living person to draw a talisman on the paper dolls. The paper dolls and the living person form a blood connection. Jiang Tian looked disgusted. He said, after he cast the spell, the paper dolls will borrow the strength of the living person to move. But the living person will probably die of exhaustion. Master Kong, do you know the Tao of sorcery? You're also proficient in this blood curse technique? Hearing Jiang Tian's explanation, Li Jinwei and Ghost Kick were shocked. They couldn't believe it. Hee, this is nothing. It's just a type of sorcery. It's a dirty trick. Jiang Tian shook his head in disdain. This blood curse technique was nothing in the cultivation world. It was too sinister and vicious. It was also very crude and primitive. It couldn't be compared to Jiang Tian's ability to control the chi of heaven and earth. They walked until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Suddenly, they felt a burst of cold air. It was already May. The scorching sun was high in the sky, and they were in the middle of a tropical rainforest. It should have been unbearably hot. But everyone felt a chill. It was as if they had fallen into an ice cellar. Their bodies were cold and they couldn't help but shiver. White Ape Valley is right in front, Ghost Kick said with a trembling voice. He looked a little afraid. We're almost there. Everyone, let's work harder. Guolili was excited and encouraged them. Everyone quickened their pace. They went over a mountain ridge and looked down. They saw a huge valley with a radius of 3 to 4 miles. But it was covered in ice and snow. Snowflakes drifted down as if it was the coldest winter. Let's enter the valley now. When Faye ordered, Hawkeye, Mountain Pow, stay with Miss on the mountain ridge. Use the Barrett sniper rifle and the rocket launcher to support her from afar. Yes. Hawkeye and Mountain Pow answered together. They were like the most elite soldiers, filled with killing intent. No, I want to go there myself, Guolili said with a determined face. When Faye nodded helplessly and continued to order, Hurricane, use the heavy machine gun and provide mid-range support. Yes. Zhao Yan and the rest of you, follow me and Miss Gua to collect the Divine Stone of Life. I'll have to trouble Elder Blue to hold the line. No problem. Everyone started to move. When Faye glanced at Jiang Tian and the other two and sneered, you guys can rest here and be bystanders. You guys can go be cannon fodder first. Jiang Tian stared at the cave with the heaviest cold air and said with a faint smile. Humph. We will be cannon fodder. You are not even cannon fodder. Wen Fei gritted his teeth. But at this critical moment, he could not be bothered with Jiang Tian and went down to the bottom of the valley with Guolili, Elder Blue, Zhao Yan and the rest. Everyone stopped talking and looked for cover. They loaded their guns and stared at the bottom of the valley, ready for battle. Master Kong, are we really not going to fight with them? Li Jinwei said angrily. With their abilities, they can't get it. Jiang Tian shook his head with disdain. At this time, Guolili and the rest were standing about 100 meters away from the entrance of the cave. She looked nervous and pulled out an exquisite handgun. If there are mystical beasts, they will definitely come out. Elder Blue took out a bunch of withered grass from her basket and lit it up. This was demon luring grass, the most precious treasure of the 5 poison sect. All poisonous insects and mystical beasts could not resist the temptation of the smell and would be attracted to it. This Elder Blue is really retarded. She could have just taken it quietly. Why did she have to lure the mystical beasts out? Jiang Tian shook his head and sighed. Elder Blue's action was undoubtedly seeking her own death. She did not know the strength of the mystical beasts. Cultivators should understand the principle of hiding themselves. A direct confrontation should be avoided. After all, the goal was to get the gem and not to kill the white ape. What do you know? Get lost. Beside him, Shan Pao pointed his handgun at Jiang Tian and reprimanded him. All right, stop waving your fire stick around. Aim at the entrance of the cave. The mystical beasts are coming out. Jiang Tian smiled. Rumble. 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 The snow on the ground was shaken to the point that it fluttered in the air, and the solid ice cracked with a series of crunching sounds. Everyone, the white ape is coming out. Get ready. Guolili smiled proudly. She opened the safety of her handgun and loaded it. She aimed at the entrance of the cave. She felt like she was fighting monsters in an online RPG game. Suddenly, there was a rumble. Huge rocks the size of millstones flew and snow scattered. The cave exploded. A white shadow leaped out like lightning. Guolili's smile froze before it could fully bloom. She could not smile anymore. In the reflection of her frightened pupils, a huge white shadow appeared. The huge shadow was so huge that under the cover of the trees and rocks, only half of its body was exposed. It was already 10 meters tall. Chapter 42. It was 10 meters tall. It was as tall as 3 or 4 stories. A person standing at the bottom of a 4-story building would definitely feel small and powerless. At that moment, Guolili, who was standing below the white ape, felt small and powerless. Yes, she wanted to shoot, but she could not even move her fingers. She wanted to scream, but she could not make a sound. It wasn't just her, everyone present was horrified when they saw this scene. They were flabbergasted, dumbstruck, and stood there motionless. Only cold sweat flowed down like a stream. Seeing those lantern-sized eyes emitting a frightening red light, Elder Blue felt his heart skip a beat and his whole body trembled. The red-eyed ape was covered in long white hair. Its muscles were bulging like small hills. Its arms were as thick as a giant tree. Its mouth was filled with saliva and fangs. There was a black demonic aura gushing out of its body. Its red eyes were burning with flames. It was like a demon god. It was extremely terrifying. Although Elder Blue was one of the top 3 experts in the 5 Poison sect and was used to seeing big battles, he still had difficulty breathing when he saw this creature. His heart almost jumped out of his throat. Shoot! Wen Fei was the first to react. He aimed his M16 at the red-eyed white ape and pulled the trigger. Tut, tut, tut. The muzzle of the M16 was filled with flames. Bullets were fired at the red-eyed white ape as if they were free. However, when Wen Fei finished a magazine, it shook its body and the bullets fell to the ground. The bullets could not hurt the white ape at all. Roar! The red-eyed white ape was in pain. It opened its mouth and roared angrily. Its roar shook 10 miles and echoed in the huge valley for a long time. Back off. Sniper rifle and rocket launcher, fire. Wen Fei was shaken to the point that his blood and qi surged. He was so frightened that his heart was pounding. He ran outside while changing the magazine. The red-eyed white ape leaped out. It took a big step and stepped down. The snow collapsed and the earth shook. It only took a breath to arrive behind Wen Fei, and with a sweep of its hand, it grabbed Wen Fei. Let me go. Wen Fei's vision shook. The world was spinning. He struggled desperately and screamed. But his fear only lasted a second. In the next moment, he was stuffed into the bloody mouth and was chewed into pieces. He couldn't be more dead. Ah! Hoodlum! When Guolili, who was running wildly, saw this scene, she was so scared that her soul almost left her body. She screamed with fear and heartache. After Hoodlum retired, he had been her personal bodyguard. He had killed 3 assassins and saved her many times. Their relationship wasn't as simple as that of an employer and an employee, but they were also good friends. Miss Gua, please follow me. Elder Blue had long been scared out of his wits. He cast a talisman on his leg to strengthen his body movement, and his speed doubled. He carried Guolili and ran like lightning. Bastard, I'll kill you. Seeing that white ape was chasing after Elder Blue and Guolili, Hurricane suddenly stood up from behind the bunker. He held an M134 minigun heavy machine gun that was about his height and fired at white ape. The casing of the heavy machine gun was made of metal. The 6 barrels were fixed into a bundle and looked majestic. The bullets on the long ammunition chain were like radishes. This rapid-fire machine gun had a maximum firing rate of 6,000 rounds per minute. It was the fastest machine gun in the world and was known as the Vulcan cannon. When the trigger was pulled, the bullets were fired. The 6 barrels were driven by the motor to rotate, and a series of actions such as loading, locking, firing, pushing, and throwing the shells were carried out. The dazzling flame at the muzzle turned into a fiery red straight line. The firing rate was too fast, and the bullets entered the muzzle at an astonishing speed. The long ammunition chain was dragged and fluttered. The bullet shells were thrown out like rain and fell to the ground with tinkling sounds. The firepower of this heavy machine gun was many times stronger than that of the M16. Its firing rate was high, and it was equipped with armor-piercing bullets that could penetrate a light armored vehicle. The bullets were shot out of the muzzle at a super high speed of 960 meters per second. They swept out like a violent storm and whistled toward the fire Qilin. Suddenly, smoke filled the air, ice and snow splashed, and gravel shot out. The ice layer and the rocky ground around White Ape were all lifted. The powerful gunshots were like continuous thunder. "Ha, bastard, it's time to fall." Hurricane laughed maniacally. The fire Qilin was too big. There was no need to aim. After a minute, the 6,000 armor-piercing bullets in the ammunition chain were used up. Even an armored vehicle would be turned into a sieve. But what was shocking was that White Ape did not fall at all. Its huge body was as hard as iron, and there was almost no way to break through its defense. It only turned its head slowly and looked at the lowly creature in confusion. A terrifying red light flashed in its eyes. "Fuck, what the fuck is this thing?" Hurricane was in a predicament. His hands trembled, and the M134 minigun machine gun fell on his feet. He grimaced in pain. But at that moment, he had forgotten about the pain and forgot about running away. Cold sweat flowed like a stream. Boom! The red-eyed White Ape lifted a 1,000-pound boulder and turned around. With the momentum of the rotation, it threw the boulder as if it was a shot put. Boom! The boulder whistled through the air. It was as fast as lightning, and it accurately hit Hurricane. The latter did not even have time to scream before he was smashed into meat paste. As for Zhao Yan and the other gunmen, their fates were no different. They were either swallowed by White Ape, squashed to death, or smashed to death by the giant tree and boulder thrown by White Ape. The remaining bodyguards were already scared out of their wits. They fled out of the valley like stray dogs. They were not suicide squads. They were just bodyguards who were paid to take care of disasters. In such a critical moment, saving their lives was more important. "Go to hell, bastard." On a distant beam, Mountain Pow's eyes were red. He lifted the rocket launcher and fired instantly. Swoosh! A cannonball with a long tail broke through the air and whistled towards White Ape. Puff! The red-eyed White Ape actually raised its hand and caught the rocket. Then, with the help of the rocket's inertia, it turned around and threw the rocket towards the mountain ridge. Bang! Mountain Pow was blown to pieces. Hawkeye, who had fired a few shots, was also blown 3 meters away. He screamed like a pig being slaughtered. If he was not fully armed, wearing a helmet and a bulletproof vest, he would have been killed on the spot. "Master Kong, let's retreat. This red-eyed White Ape is stronger than the last time I saw it. I'm afraid that even a martial arts grandmaster or an immortal spell master would not be able to handle it." Ghost Kick was terrified. The red-eyed White Ape was too terrifying. It had defeated a dozen bodyguards. Even the rocket launcher could not kill it. "Let's just watch the show. What's the hurry?" Jiang Tian said lazily. By then, Guolili and Elder Blue had run to the top of the mountain. Elder Blue whistled and hurried to throw out the bamboo basket. Suddenly, dozens of poisonous snakes, scorpions, toads, spiders, and bats fell from the sky and rushed toward the White Ape. Huff! The red-eyed White Ape didn't even bat an eye. It opened its mouth and blew out a gust of scorching hot air. The poisonous creatures fell to the ground as soon as they came in contact with the gust of wind. How can this bastard be so powerful? Elder Blue was scared out of his wits. He took out a few talisman charms and cast them at the beast. Immediately, balls of pitch-black chi rolled and surged toward the White Ape. "This is the miasma poison that I created using the 5 poison chi. 1 drop of it is enough to kill an internal force user. Even a transcendent state master would not be able to withstand it." Elder Blue had regained some of his confidence. He looked expectantly at the billowing 5 poison black smoke. It will be poisoned to death. If it is poisoned to death, I will pull out its tendons and skin it alive to avenge Hoodlum and the others. Gualili shouted. She clenched her fists so tightly that her nails dug into her flesh. Unexpectedly, the red-eyed white ape opened its bloody mouth and suddenly inhaled. Like a whale sucking in water, it actually sucked in the 5 poison miasma until not a single drop was left. It even burped in satisfaction. This time, Elder Blue was really scared out of his wits. He pulled Gualili, who was dumbstruck, and ran out of the valley. Miss Gua, let's go. If we don't leave now, we'll die here too. Am I going to leave just like that? Gualili cried out in despair. This trip had cost her tens of millions just to gather information and find a guide. Hoodlum and a dozen other bodyguards had also died. She couldn't explain to her father and grandfather if she returned empty-handed. However, what else could she do? Her heavy firepower was useless. Elder Blue was also helpless. The bodyguards were all running for their lives. She was just a weak woman. She would be no match for the white ape. But just as she was about to walk out of the valley in despair, she saw a tall figure approaching the white ape. What are you doing? Gualili couldn't believe it and screamed. What am I doing? Of course I am going to kill it. Jiang Tian's feet didn't stop. His bearing was leisurely as if he was taking a leisurely stroll. Are you crazy? Come back. Elder Blue was shocked. He shouted, this white ape has become a demon. I am afraid that even a transcendent master can't do anything to it. You are going to die for nothing. Gualili and the other bodyguards looked at Jiang Tian as if they were looking at an idiot. The red-eyed white ape was so powerful that no one could avoid it. Jiang Tian was the only one who dared to face the monstrous demon Qi head-on. Wasn't he courting death? It's just a little monkey with 300 years of cultivation. It hasn't even gained sentience. Killing it is as easy as killing a chicken. Jiang Tian said with disdain. He was only 50 meters away from the red-eyed white ape. He was the Taichu celestial lord. He had slain dragons, kirans, and vermilion birds. He had tamed thousands of monsters. What kind of monster had he not killed? Jiang Tian didn't think much of a long-haired beast. It was only a first-rank monster. I wonder if Master Kong is a match for it. Right now, even Li Jinwei and Ghost Kick were sweating profusely, feeling uneasy. They did not have 100% confidence in Jiang Tian. The red-eyed white ape also stared at Jiang Tian. Everyone was running for their lives. Jiang Tian was the only one who could face it head-on. Roar! It plucked out a giant tree that was as thick as a water bucket and stomped on the ground. The earth shook and the mountains shook as it leaped up. Reaching a height of more than 10 meters, the white ape swung the huge tree, as if Mount Tai was pressing down on him, heavily smashing down towards Jiang Tian. Sword! Jiang Tian's face was calm. He waved his hand. Clank! Clank! Chapter 43. What kind of sword is this? It can be combined at will. Elder Blue was shocked. He looked at the sword in Jiang Tian's hand in disbelief. The coins were mottled with copper rust and had strange patterns inscribed on them, and they emitted an aura of time. My sword. Jiang Tian held the evil warding golden sword. His clear eyes were filled with arrogance. He raised his eyebrows and slashed at the white ape. Can break the sun and moon. Swoosh! No one could describe the sharpness and brilliance of this sword. The power of this sword was so great that it seemed to be able to tear the sky apart. Even the gods and Buddhas in the sky could be destroyed. At that moment, everything in the world was overshadowed. Only a slender and brilliant golden line was left. Wherever the surging sword energy passed, the ice was shattered. Snowflakes danced wildly, countless trees were broken, and huge rocks were cut in half. The cut was as smooth as a mirror. Then, the sharp sword energy slashed at the white ape's indestructible head that had been cultivated for hundreds of years. The white ape's strong muscles that even bullets could not penetrate were like paper. Under the sharp sword energy, Jiang Tian cut it in half from the top of its head to the crotch. Roar! The red-eyed white ape let out a shrill cry of fear. Blood spurted out from the wound like a fountain. The mountain-like corpse was cut in half from the middle. It fell to the ground with its warm internal organs, shaking the earth and rolling up thousands of piles of snow. This white ape that had lived in the valley for hundreds of years and killed countless people was killed by Jiang Tian's sword just like that. A sword that could break the sun and moon. Thousands of miles of cold light cut the white ape. Everyone was shocked. Oh my God, is he still human? The Guo family bodyguards and the 5 poison sect disciples were all dumbfounded. They murmured as if they were in a dream. Controlling the spiritual chi of heaven and earth, condensing it into sword energy, and killing a demon beast with one sword. I'm afraid he's an immortal. Elder Blue's voice trembled. He was dumbfounded. The disrespect on his face had long disappeared. It was replaced by deep fear and admiration. Master Kong is indeed a master. Li Jinwei could no longer control the reverence in his heart. He knelt down on the spot as if he was worshipping a god. Master Kong has killed the demonic beast, which can be considered as avenging the old man. The old man can't thank you enough. Ghost Kick was also full of worship, and he followed suit and kowtowed. How is this possible? Hawkeye and the others were shocked out of their wits. They were flabbergasted and couldn't believe it. It was as if Jiang Tian, who was originally an ant in their eyes, had now become a prehistoric Tyrannosaurus Rex bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws. How could they not be shocked? I didn't expect him to be so powerful. Guo Lily was dumbfounded. Her heart was filled with complex feelings. Shock, ecstasy, fear, doubt, regret. Her emotions were like a roller coaster, going up and down, going through hundreds of twists and turns. In his eyes, everything disappeared. All that was left was the back of the man who stood there with a sword in his hand, looking down on the world like a god. This white ape turned out to be a fire-type demonic beast. Its blood often burns, and it needs the cold aura of the ice crystal to neutralize it. Otherwise, it will explode and die. Jiang Tian looked at the corpse that was emitting hot steam and thought to himself, that's right. It can be said that its body is full of treasures. Its flesh and blood can be refined into elixirs, its bones can be made into weapons, and its demonic core can even be used as a fire-type array material. I'll deal with it later. Jiang Tian made up his mind, and he didn't stop. After a few leaps, he drilled into the cave and took a fist-sized ice crystal from the stone wall. It's really an ice crystal, and it's a top-grade one. This time, it's worth it. Holding the ice crystal in his hand, Jiang Tian looked as if he had found a treasure. His eyes lit up and he praised it for a while. With his ability, money and wealth were at his fingertips, but cultivation resources were rare. This ice crystal was rare even in the extraterritorial space. How could he not be happy when he got it? After that, Jiang Tian opened his eyes and found a dozen or so smaller ice crystals in the cave. This time, the water-type materials needed to refine a 5-elements spirit-gathering array were more than enough. Jiang, you found the divine stone of life. Guo Lily walked quickly into the cave, surrounded by Elder Blue and a few bodyguards. When she saw the crystal in Jiang Tian's hand, her eyes lit up. She stretched out her hand and said, "Give it to me." "Why should I give it to you? I was the one who got it." Jiang Tian was astonished. "We suffered heavy losses in this operation, but we also contributed. You have to give me a big one." Guo Lily argued unreasonably. She bared her fangs and scolded, "Do you know that with great power comes great responsibility? If you had taken action earlier, Wen Fei and those bodyguards wouldn't have died. What does their life have to do with me? Ha, if I hadn't taken action, you would have been eaten by the white ape." Jiang Tian's eyes were full of contempt. This kind of rich young lady was self-centered and thought that the whole world should revolve around her. Jiang Tian saved her life. Not only was she not grateful, but she blamed Jiang Tian and wanted to share the fruit. Guo Lily was angry and bitter. She stomped her feet and shouted, "Why are you so stingy? I want to take the divine stone of life to treat my grandfather's illness. Do you want to watch him die?" She had been mocking and provoking him all the way, and now she had the nerve to ask for the ice crystals. "I don't know your grandfather." Jiang Tian didn't bother to pay attention to her and continued to search in the cave. This is a soul-transforming herb. Jiang Tian's eyes suddenly lit up. He found a jade-like spiritual herb in the corner. This spiritual herb was more than 10 centimeters tall, and its leaves were emitting a faint light. Its fragrance was refreshing. The soul-transforming herb was the core spiritual herb to refine the soul-transforming pill that molded divine sense. It was indispensable. And once he had divine sense, Jiang Tian's perception ability would increase by 10 times, covering several kilometers, omniscient and omnipotent. It would be of great benefit in a fight. "I found it first. It's mine." Who knew that Guo Lily actually took quick steps forward, reaching her hand out and grabbing towards the spirit-transforming grass. "You want to die?" Jiang Tian was anxious. With a wave of his hand, the soul-transforming herb was uprooted. He couldn't help but be somewhat angry. This soul-transforming herb was not mature yet. It was best to cultivate it for another half a year. But now that Guo Lily wanted to uproot it, Jiang Tian had no choice but to forcibly uproot it. That soul-transforming herb was useless to Guo Lily. She was clearly snatching it maliciously. Guo Lily grabbed empty air and couldn't help but feel frustrated and angry. She waved her hands and legs and said, "Jiang Tian, why should I give you all the treasures? You're despicable, shameless, stingy. Miss Guo, you mustn't be disrespectful to Master Kong." Elder Blue jumped in fright. He was so anxious that he broke out in cold sweat. He wanted to cover Guo Lily's mouth that had no cover at all. With Jiang Tian's cultivation, killing them was like chopping melons and vegetables. Moreover, this was a barren mountain with few traces of people. Who would know that Jiang Tian had them? "You're not convinced? If you're not convinced, then come and snatch it." Jiang Tian snorted and continued to search in the wide cave. However, the remaining items were not valuable. Some human and beast bones, jars, food, water, and so on. "Jiang Tian, I can spend money to buy a piece of divine stone of life. How about 30 million? Guo Lily had no choice but to take a step back. But she said arrogantly, "Not selling. 50 million. Not selling. Whether I have enough for myself is still a question. 100 million. Guo Lily gritted her teeth in anger. "I said not selling. Aren't you annoying?" Jiang Tian frowned and glared at her, his face cold. "Jiang Tian, you will regret this." Guo Lily had grown up with a silver spoon in her mouth. She had never suffered such a setback before. She was so angry that her whole body trembled. She clenched her teeth and shouted, "I will kill you. I will skin you alive. I will let you know how terrifying the Guo family of Nanyang is. Get out." Jiang Tian's face turned cold. He waved his sleeve and a gust of wind swept across the cave. Ouch! The scenery in front of Guo Lily swayed and swayed. Guo Lily flew out of the cave and fell on her butt. You savage! How dare you attack a weak girl? Do you know where I come from? I am the daughter of the Guo family of Nanyang. Guo Lily pouted and was about to cry. Guo family of Nanyang? Ha, who do you think you are? How dare you talk to me like that? You must have a death wish. Jiang Tian's cold, emotionless, and arrogant voice came from afar. Since you are a girl, I will not lower myself to your level. Otherwise, you would already be dead. Jiang Tian, do you think you can do whatever you want just because you have some skills? How would you know that Nanyang has the top 10 sorcerers and martial arts experts? A man's wealth is his own ruin. Now that the divine stone of life is in your hands, if you don't give it to me, you deserve to die. Just wait for me to come back and kill you. Guo Lily's eyes were spitting fire. She was filled with resentment. Under the protection of Elder Blue and the others, she collected the body and left dejectedly. For the next 10 days, Jiang Tian and Li Jinwei built a hut in the valley to deal with the white ape's body. Li Jinwei called his disciples to bring over a lot of utensils and knives. First, they pulled out the white ape's tendons, skin, flesh, organs, and bones and collected them. The fire energy is so strong. No wonder your skills are so high. Jiang Tian took out the demon core from the white ape's brain and felt a burning sensation. The skin on his palm was about to crack. He was overjoyed. He put the demon core into a jade bottle. It could be used as a fire energy stone for the 5 elements chi gathering array. Jiang Tian then used animal skin and blood to carve dozens of talismans of different types and functions, such as Fireball Talisman, Divine Travel Talisman, Protection Talisman, Earth Escape Talisman, and so on. He cast a spell to condense the remaining talismans and stored them in jade bottles. These talismans were much more powerful than the ones drawn with cinnabar chicken blood and yellow paper. After that, Jiang Tian ignited a charcoal fire and mixed the flesh and organs with precious herbs to make thousands of vital essence pills and fire spirit pills. Once a martial artist took the essence chi pill, they would strengthen their muscles and bones, increasing their cultivation by several folds. If a mortal ate it, it would also strengthen their body and increase their immunity. As for fire spirit pills, they contained powerful fire energy and could cure cold poison. They could even cure Lou Gehrig's disease. After that, Jiang Tian spent 7 days of hard work. He roasted the tendons that were as thick as an arm until they were as thin as silk. He kept hammering and rubbing them to increase their elasticity and flexibility. Then, he used some of the white ape's ribs that had been refined to create a bone zither. Using bones as zither and tendons as strings. Doesn't Qinger like to play the zither? I'll give it to her later. Jiang Tian nodded in satisfaction. The white ape bone zither was not only very pleasant to listen to, but it was also a powerful magical weapon. If he could control it, he could produce a dragon's roar and kill a strong enemy. I wonder how the girl is doing now. Has she finished the divorce procedures? But when he thought of Zhao Xueqing's grief-stricken face, he felt a wave of sadness and frowned. Chapter 44. Li Jinwei and Ghost Kick worked tirelessly, serving Jiang Tian like disciples all day long. They helped him take care of the white ape's corpse, carve talismans, and refine pills. I can't let them waste their efforts. Jiang Tian had a good impression of the two. He made 2 bone knives from the white ape's ribs and gave them to Li Jinwei. He also made a bone whip from the spine and gave it to Ghost Kick. Jiang Tian's artifact refining skills were also at the peak of perfection. These 2 sets of weapons had the effect of increasing attack power and could be called divine weapons. We will never forget Master Kang's great kindness. The 2 were moved to tears. They knelt in front of Jiang Tian and kept kowtowing, completely following the etiquette of a disciple. While Jiang Tian was still cultivating in the White Ape Valley. In Linzhou, a Mercedes-Benz SUV slowly stopped in front of the Times Mansion villa. Tang Wanyan, who was frowning, looked around and said, "This is Master Kang's residence. It's a bit too shabby." Although the Times Mansion was a villa, its location was not good and the surrounding development did not keep up. It was quite inconvenient and the price was not high. "Yes, it's here." Tang Linglong nodded. "Will Master Kang be at home?" "Without him, I'll be finished." "I regret it." Tang Wanyan asked with a bit of apprehension. "What's the use of regretting it now?" Tang Linglong didn't like this third uncle and resentfully said, "Who told you to be disrespectful to him?" She got out of the car with a sunshade fan and suddenly saw a shocking scene. She saw a graceful woman with an otherworldly temperament under the hot sun, rummaging through the stinky garbage pile not far from the villa. Linglong, what are you looking at? Tang Wanyan followed her gaze and said with a smile, is she a lunatic? Rummaging through the garbage here. But she's very beautiful and well-dressed. She doesn't look like a lunatic. Strange. This is Jiang Tian's lover, Zhao Xueqing. Tang Linglong glared at him. Oh my god. Tang Wanyan stuck out his tongue. Tang Linglong walked over in her high heels. Miss Zhao, is Jiang Tian here? Zhao Xueqing's face was full of sweat, and there was a lot of dust and dirt on her clothes. She straightened up and looked at Tang Linglong absent-mindedly. You're looking for Jiang Tian. Suddenly, she felt dizzy and fell straight to the ground. Oh, Miss Zhao, what's wrong with you? Tang Linglong rushed up and carried Zhao Xueqing in her arms. I'm afraid he's suffering from heatstroke after being exposed to the sun for too long. Hurry up and send him home. He needs some fresh air and some medicine. Tang Wanyan took out the keys from Zhao Xueqing's bag, opened the door, and helped her into the living room with Tang Linglong. Zhao Xueqing only woke up half an hour later after taking some Huxiangjingqi water capsules to ventilate her body and calling for a doctor to diagnose her. Miss Zhao, are you okay? I'm Tang Linglong. We've met before. Tang Linglong asked worriedly. My beads. Unexpectedly, Zhao Xueqing ignored her. She didn't even bother to put on her shoes and ran out of the villa barefooted. When she saw that the garbage dump was gone, she sat down on the ground and burst into tears. The garbage dump is gone, what are you looking for? Tang Linglong asked curiously. It's the bracelet that Jiang Tian gave me. There are 8 beads in total. I found 7. The remaining one must be in the garbage dump. Zhao Xueqing's eyes were dull, and tears rolled down her face. She looked desperate. Jiang Tian gave it to me, but I lost it. These garbage dumps are cleaned up regularly. Now they must have been pulled to the landfill or burned. Tang Wanyan frowned. Please, take me to the landfill. Zhao Xueqing knelt on the ground and begged pitifully. I can't lose that bead, Miss Zhao, please get up quickly. Tang Wanyan was shocked. This was Master Kang's wife. How could she kneel in front of him? He hurriedly helped Zhao Xueqing up and said, I'm sorry. Miss Zhao, don't worry. Leave it to me. I'll help you find it. Thank you. Zhao Xueqing took out a bracelet and said, this is the bead. Tang Wanyan immediately contacted the sanitation office and asked him to determine where the garbage was. He took another photo and sent it to his capable men. He also made a phone call. Master Kang's things are missing. Don't go to work today. No matter what, you have to find it for me. Use a sieve to sift through the garbage for me. After the phone call, he smiled and said, Miss Zhao, let's go back. There are hundreds of people in my company. It's much faster than you. The 3 of them returned to the living room together. You are? Zhao Xueqing asked in puzzlement. The 2 of them had an extraordinary temperament, luxurious clothes, and an imported Mercedes-Benz. They were definitely not ordinary people. Oh, I'm Tang Wanyan. Crouching Dragon Villa is my property. This is my niece, Tang Linglong. Tang Wanyan quickly handed over a business card with both hands respectfully. Tang Guozhu is your father. Zhao Xueqing heard of Tang Wanyan's name and was shocked. Yes. Tang Wanyan nodded and smiled. This time we're here to find Master Kang. He's gone. He's not at home. Zhao Xueqing said this sentence and tears rolled down her face. Where did he go? Tang Linglong's heart tightened and asked with a frown. I don't know. I can't find him either. Zhao Xueqing covered her face and choked with sobs. Tang Linglong was so angry that she wanted to vomit blood. She frowned and said, You're his lover. Where did he go? Don't you know? Zhao Xueqing didn't say a word and just kept crying. Seeing Zhao Xueqing's emotional expression, Tang Wanyan patted Tang Linglong's shoulder and motioned her not to be impulsive. After an hour, Tang Wanyan received a phone call and said happily, "Miss Zhao, the beads have been found. I'll send it right away." "Did you really find it?" "That's great. That's great." Zhao Xueqing's face glowed and she was so excited that her whole body trembled. After a while, one of Tang Wanyan's men sent the beads over. Zhao Xueqing carefully strung the beads. There were a total of 8 beads. Finally, they were all together. She changed the bracelet into a necklace and hung it around her neck, as if this could bring Jiang Tian closer to her heart. She burst into tears again. "Miss Zhao, we'll take our leave first. If Mr. Jiang comes back, please let me know." Tang Wanyan was full of regret, but he could only get up and leave. "Wait, why are you looking for him?" Zhao Xueqing was very grateful to the two and asked softly. "I'm ashamed to say this." Tang Wanyan scratched his head and said embarrassedly, "Master Kang's eyes are like torches. He saw that there were evil spirits in my crouching dragon villa. But at that time, I didn't believe Master Kang's eyes and said a lot of nonsense. We parted on bad terms. As a result, in the past few days, the Crouching Tiger Villa has been filled with evil winds. The sun and the moon have lost their light. Ghosts are wailing and wolves are howling. I can only bring a bramble and ask for forgiveness. Master Kang, please let bygones be bygones and come out to catch ghosts and demons." "What? He can catch ghosts?" Zhao Xueqing couldn't believe it. How could Jiang Tian be so powerful? Besides, did ghosts really exist in this world? "It's true. I saw Master Kang swallow a ghost with my own eyes," Tang Linglong said seriously. "But Jiang Tian has left." Zhao Xueqing touched the bracelet and said with a trembling voice. She was filled with sorrow and sadness. "Can't you contact him?" Tang Linglong asked. "He doesn't have a phone." Zhao Xueqing suddenly felt sad. She might never see Jiang Tian again. "Is Mrs. Jiang in?" Tang Linglong was about to leave when the doorbell rang. Zhao Xueqing opened the door and Tang Wanyan was shocked. "Brother Dragon Fifth, why are you here?" "Third Elder, Miss Tang, you are here too." It was Dragon Fifth and Zhou Zhenghao. They were a little surprised to see Tang Wanyan and Zhao Xueqing. Tang Wanyan and Dragon Fifth had a very close relationship. Both of them had shares in each other's company. Tang Wanyan supported Dragon Fifth in politics, but Dragon Fifth was better in business. "I'm Dragon Fifth, the chairman of Longwei Group." Dragon Fifth didn't care about Tang Wanyan at the moment. He handed over a business card and said to Zhao Xueqing happily, "Mrs. Jiang, you must be Mrs. Jiang. You must be Madame Jiang, right? I am Grandmaster Jiang's little brother. Grandmaster Jiang has ordered that if you encounter any situation in Linzhou, you should contact me directly. I will definitely do my best." "What? You know Master Kang's whereabouts? Why didn't you say so earlier?" Tang Wanyan and Tang Linglong exclaimed. "Is he okay?" Zhao Xueqing's face was full of tears, but she smiled and murmured, "He still cares about me, he still cares about me, don't worry, everyone. Master Kang is now in seclusion in the 100,000 mountains of southern Yunnan," Dragon Fifth said with a smile. "As long as he's okay, as long as he's okay." Zhao Xueqing sat on the sofa and cried. Tang Wanyan pulled Dragon Fifth aside and said anxiously, "Dragon Fifth, you know Master Kang. Why didn't you say so earlier? You got me into trouble. I just got to know him too. Why are you looking for him?" Dragon Fifth frowned as he felt a sharp pain in his arm. "Hurry up, take me to see him." Tang Wanyan was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. Something big happened at Crouching Dragon Villa. Master Kang has to do something. In White Ape Valley, Jiang Tian began to immerse himself in cultivation after taking care of White Ape's body. White Ape Valley gathered the nourishment of heaven and earth during the geological changes, producing ice crystals that contained surging ice spiritual qi. This kind of spiritual qi was too thin for ordinary martial artists to absorb directly, but for Jiang Tian, it was enough. Under Jiang Tian's orders, Li Jinwei and his disciples delivered a large number of high-quality jade stones and precious herbs that Jiang Tian needed. They also cleaned up the White Ape Cave and formed a training ground for Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian arranged a large number of jade stones into a small spiritual qi gathering array, which gathered the ice spiritual qi and made it more peaceful for absorption. Later, Jiang Tian used a lot of precious herbs, combined with the soul-transforming grass, and spent a few days of hard work to refine a soul-transforming pill. Finally, I can shape my divine sense. Jiang Tian sat cross-legged in the cave, gathered the spiritual qi, ran the soul-sculpting art, and swallowed the purple pill. Suddenly, there was a rumbling sound. Jiang Tian's mind felt like it was about to explode. His brain was in severe pain, and the scene in front of him was blurred and distorted. Chapter 45. N. Jiang Tian groaned, clenching his fists and frowning. However, he did not panic. This was a sudden surge in spiritual power, so the body could not bear the normal reaction. Step by step, he began to circulate the soul-sculpting art. The soul-sculpting formula was a cultivation technique of the godly refining sect. It was created by Jiang Tian's close friend, the strongest cultivator in the continent of the Nine Clouds, the Venerable Ren Mingming. It was extremely powerful. It was said to be the best cultivation technique for spiritual cultivation. In layman's terms, if the spiritual power of an ordinary cultivator was like a stone, then the spiritual power created by the soul-sculpting art was like a diamond. It could transform the spiritual power and shatter the spiritual power. Time flew, and a day passed. Condense. Jiang Tian shouted in his mind. The surging spiritual power turned into a bolt of lightning, breaking through the air from his forehead and smashing a boulder 5 meters away. Spiritual power generated electricity, interfering with reality. It could even break through material objects. If it attacked a person's mind and consciousness, it could instantly take a person's life. My spiritual power has reached the large success stage. Jiang Tian smiled with satisfaction and released his spiritual power to explore his surroundings. The moment he released it, his spiritual power swept across a radius of a few miles, enveloping the entire White Ape Valley. A flower, a grass, a branch, a leaf, a bird, a beast, all of them gathered into a huge flow of information and poured into Jiang Tian's mind. He could perceive the rhythm of a butterfly flapping its wings outside the valley. He could see an earthworm slowly crawling 5 meters below the ground. He could feel the flow of Li Jinwei's blood as he meditated cross-legged. As soon as his spiritual power formed, the sharpness of his 5 senses immediately increased. At this time, he was omniscient and omnipotent. Nothing could hide from his perception. The soul-sculpting art is worthy of being the #1 spiritual power cultivation method. It is really extraordinary. Ren Ming, this guy can. Jiang Tian sighed slightly. In the valley, Li Jinwei was practicing martial arts. The disciples of Ghost Kick and Jinwei Martial Arts School were scattered on the mountain ridge. Li Jinwei punched out. Bang! Internal strength broke out of his body and smashed a giant tree. Inner strength can break through the body and injure people in the air. The disciples of the Jinwei Martial Arts School exclaimed. Congratulations, Brother Jinwei. You've reached the peak of internal force. Ghost Kick cupped his fist and congratulated him with an envious look on his face. Master Kang's cultivation method is simply too miraculous. Li Jinwei looked up to the sky and sighed, his face filled with shock and reverence. Before going into seclusion, Jiang Tian taught Li Jinwei and Li Jinyu a set of qi condensation technique. He had achieved phenomenal success in his internal force cultivation a long time ago, but after years of cultivation, he still hadn't reached the peak of perfection. Now, under Jiang Tian's guidance, he had achieved a breakthrough in half a month. His progress was rapid. Brother Wei, Master Kong has been in seclusion for a week. He hasn't eaten or drunk anything, and he hasn't made a sound. Will he be all right? Ghost kicked a few times and jumped over, saying worriedly. Grandmaster Jiang has miraculous pills, and he also cultivates a supreme mysterious art. Moreover, his understanding of martial arts is also quite profound. There will definitely be no mistakes. Let's not disturb him. Li Jinwei said confidently. Where is Master Kong? I want to see Master Kong. At this moment, a shout came from the mountain ridge, and a middle-aged man ran over, stumbling. How dare you? Don't disturb Master Kang's cultivation. A disciple of the Jinwei martial arts school blocked the way. Brother, hurry up and let me pass. I have an urgent matter to discuss with Grandmaster Jiang. Tang Wanyan was panting and his legs were weak as he spoke impatiently. That's right, Master Jinwei. Please let the disciples pass. This is Master Tang from Linzhou. He has something important to discuss with Master Kong. At this moment, Dragon Fifth also rushed over and said with an anxious face. Dragon Fifth, Tang Wanyan doesn't know the rules. Don't you know them too? Li Jinwei rushed over and frowned. Master Kong is cultivating in seclusion. If you offend him, you won't be able to redeem yourself even if you die 100 times. Don't blame me for turning against you. How long will it take? I'm really in a hurry. Tang Wanyan was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. Just as Li Jinwei was about to ask him what was going on, roar. A roar like that of a dragon and a phoenix came out of the cave and went straight to the sky, echoing in the valley. The sound waves were like monstrous waves that pushed in all directions. Rocks were thrown and giant trees hundreds of meters away shook. The sound was amazing. Tang Wanyan and the others felt a sharp pain in their eardrums. They felt dizzy and disgusted. Master Kong has come out of seclusion. Li Jinwei's face was full of ecstasy and worship. He knelt in the direction of Jiang Tian. Congratulations to Master Kong for completing his cultivation and coming out of seclusion. Gue Shou and the other disciples of Jinwei Martial Arts Dojo also knelt down, their faces respectful and solemn. Tang Wanyan, what's the matter? Bring him in. Dragon Fifth, how is Xueqing? Suddenly, Tang Wanyan, Dragon Fifth, and Li Jinwei heard this sentence in their minds. I just heard Mr. Zhang's words in my mind. The three of them looked at each other in disbelief. They could clearly tell that this was not a perception caused by the sound waves entering their ears, but directly in their minds. This is divine telepathy. Oh my God! Grandmaster Zhang's divine ability, could it be that he has already reached the deity realm? Li Jinwei was so excited that his whole body trembled. Legend had it that one of the 6 divine powers of Buddhism was called heavenly mouth communication. It could transmit one's consciousness directly into the minds of all living beings in the 6 realms. Although Jiang Tian's current divine sense voice transmission art did not have the ability to reach 10,000 miles, it was also close. Isn't he a living Buddha? Hearing Li Jinwei's explanation, Tang Wanyan's heart was filled with worship, and he felt that he was as insignificant as a speck of dust in front of Jiang Tian. Barely suppressing the shock in his heart, Tang Wanyan and Dragon Fifth followed Li Jinwei into the cave while trembling with fear. Jiang Tian sat cross-legged on a huge green rock, looking at everyone coldly with a pair of sparkling eyes. His skin was sparkling and translucent, his white clothes were spotless, his posture was relaxed and calm, and his aura was ethereal, as if he was an immortal. Is he still human? Tang Wanyan exclaimed in his heart. As he got closer and closer to Jiang Tian, Tang Wanyan felt a huge pressure and had the urge to kneel down and kowtow. When the three of them stood still, just as Tang Wanyan was about to speak, a voice sounded in his mind, Dragon Fifth, how is Xueqing? Dragon Fifth immediately bowed deeply and cupped his fists, reporting to Master Kong, Lady Jiang is fine, I hope you can return quickly. Is that so? The corners of Jiang Tian's mouth curled up into a smile, and his eyes became gentler. Only now did Tang Wanyan and the others feel a sense of humanity from Jiang Tian, and they secretly let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that she had already figured out some of the problems. Jiang Tian was in a good mood, and asked, Tang Wanyan, what business do you have with me? Master Kong, you are right, there really is an evil spirit in Wulong Mountain Villa. Recently, more than 10 people have died, please help. Tang Wanyan begged pitifully, last time, I had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai, I have offended you, please forgive me. As long as you help me get rid of that evil spirit, I am willing to repay you with 100 million. Humph. Jiang Tian coldly snorted, and his eyes suddenly turned cold. Jiang Tian only let out a light snort, but to Tang Wanyan, it was no different from a clap of thunder in his ears. A huge spiritual pressure hit him, and his soul creaked as if it was about to be crushed. His face turned ashen, and his vision blurred. His chi and blood were in a mess, and he staggered back 3 to 5 steps, 100 million? If I want money, I can easily get 1 trillion. If you tempt with money, you will betray because of money. Get out. Jiang Tian slowly closed his eyes like an old monk in meditation, and his face was solemn and uninterested. Master Kong, being reprimanded by Jiang Tian, Tang Wanyan, who had a lot of power in Linzhou, did not dare to show the slightest displeasure. Instead, he was afraid and anxious, and did not know what to say. Master Kong, on the day I went to visit Lady Jiang, she was unconscious from heatstroke, and it was Master Tang who found her in time. Dragon Fifth nodded and bowed, and his face was full of flattery, saying good things for Tang Wanyan, a good brother he had known for decades. Is Qing'er okay? Jiang Tian suddenly opened his eyes and was anxious. He did not have the sage-like demeanor anymore. He was clearly a wife-doting maniac. It's just a heatstroke. She's fine now. Tang Wanyan quickly took the credit. That day, she was looking for the jade on the bracelet left by Master Kong, and she was drying it in the sun for a long time. Fortunately, I had the whole company sift through the garbage dump and found it. Oh, she was looking for the bracelet I gave her. A picture appeared in Jiang Tian's mind. A graceful woman was rummaging through the garbage dump under the scorching sun. Her white dress was dirty, and her face and back were soaked with sweat. Sigh, she should understand my painstaking efforts now. Will she accept me again? Jiang Tian's heart was filled with bitterness and sweetness. He was stunned for a long time, and his face was half smiling. His eyes were slightly red, and he was dazed for a moment. What's wrong with Master Kong? Tang Wanyan, Dragon the Fifth, and Li Jinwei looked at each other and did not dare to make a sound. Let's go back to Linzhou. Suddenly, Jiang Tian stood up and rushed out of the cave. At this moment, he was anxious to return home. Cultivation and advancement had become so boring and uninteresting. He just wanted to see Zhao Xueqing as soon as possible. He wanted to hold her tightly in his arms and protect her for 3 lifetimes. Master Kong loves his wife so much. He's a wife-doting maniac. Tang Wanyan, Dragon the Fifth, and Li Jinwei looked at each other in disbelief. 2 days later, in the evening, Jiang Tian appeared in front of the house with a dusty face, carrying a luggage bag. Home, what a warm word. I'm back. Click. Jiang Tian took out the key, opened the door, and walked into the living room. It was empty. Zhao Xueqing had not returned from work. The living room was a little messy. There were takeout boxes on the coffee table, and many red wine and beer bottles. It seemed that this girl had not eaten well these days and was too lazy to clean the house. Drinking wine is not a good habit. Jiang Tian shook his head and smiled bitterly. He put down the luggage and began to clean the house. Half an hour later. The windows were clean and the table looked brand new. Jiang Tian went out to buy some ingredients and busied himself in the kitchen. Chapter 46. When Zhao Xueqing returned home listlessly, she smelled an enticing aroma and the sound of stir-frying coming from the kitchen. Jiang Tian is back. Zhao Xueqing's heart was beating wildly as she went to the kitchen to take a look. Jiang Tian was wearing an apron and holding a large spoon to stir-fry. He would occasionally pick up a piece to taste and smack his lips. Tsk tisk, it's a bit salty. I wonder if Qing'er will scold me for being clumsy. This warm scene that she had been looking forward to for a long time appeared in front of her eyes, but Zhao Xueqing felt like she was dreaming. Thump. The bag of ingredients in Zhao Xueqing's hand fell to the ground, and sparkling tears poured out crazily. Tears fell like rain. Ah. You're back. Why didn't you say anything? You scared me. Jiang Tian turned around and patted his chest. Am I that scary? Zhao Xueqing wanted to make a joke to dissolve the awkwardness of their reunion, but she couldn't stop her tears. Moreover, she suddenly felt that there was no awkwardness at all. It was as if Jiang Tian had never left, and had just come back from work earlier than her. As if she couldn't control her body, Zhao Xueqing looked at Jiang Tian with tears in her eyes. She suppressed her sobs and walked step by step to Jiang Tian. She stretched out her arms and hugged him tightly. She buried her head in his chest and cried loudly. Bastard, why did you leave? Yes, I let you leave, but you didn't even leave me a way to contact you. Do you know how hard it was for me to find you? Stupid pig, what kind of string is that bracelet of yours made of? It broke when I pulled, and I had to look for the beads for a long time. How long has it been since you washed your clothes? Why are they so smelly? Can't you be more hygienic? Zhao Xueqing cried as she raised her fist and pounded Jiang Tian's chest. It didn't hurt at all, it was like a massage. Alright, stop crying. It won't be good if your eyes get swollen from crying. Jiang Tian raised his hand, wanting to pat her to comfort her, but he stopped. There was a lot of oil on his hand. You think I'm not good looking? You're really something. Zhao Xueqing pouted and pouted. She pulled Jiang Tian's arm and let him hug her. For a moment, the two of them hugged each other tightly, their ears rubbing against each other. They wished they could embed themselves into each other's bodies. The afterglow of the setting sun gave the two of them a golden hue, making them look incomparably warm and beautiful. Jiang Tian, are your arms and head okay? After a long time, Zhao Xueqing wiped her tears and pulled Jiang Tian's hair, trying to find the wound. I'm fine. This little injury is nothing. It's already healed. Jiang Tian's heart was filled with warmth. Io, the pork ribs are going to burn. Hurry up and serve. When Zhao Xueqing saw that there were no scars, she felt relieved. However, she suddenly exclaimed. Woo-woo, my husband's cooking is the best. It's so delicious that it makes me want to cry. Zhao Xueqing ate the food with big mouthfuls. Her mouth was full of oil and rice grains. She looked like a little greedy cat. She didn't look elegant and dignified at all. However, at this time, she was wearing the 8-fortune jade talisman made by Jiang Tian on her neck. It reflected a faint glow on her skin, making her skin look snowy and radiant. Eat slowly. Drink some soup. Don't choke. Jiang Tian kept on giving her food. His eyes were full of love and pampering. Hubby, you're not allowed to leave anymore. You have to cook for me every day. Zhao Xueqing's eyes were red as she begged pitifully. Since the death of her mother, Zhao Xueqing had never experienced the feeling of being taken care of by a family member. Especially after she got married to Jiang Tian, her life was in a complete mess, and it caused her to be badly battered, and she washed her face with tears all day long. Now, Jiang Tian knew how to take care of her. She didn't want to lose Jiang Tian anymore. Didn't you ask me to leave last time? When did I want to leave? Jiang Tian looked helpless. That's not what I thought. Zhao Xueqing remembered how she and Jiang Tian were naked that morning. She couldn't help but blush. Humph, we're already married. Isn't it what we should do? Jiang Tian pretended to be angry. Then I'm not mentally prepared. Moreover, on the night of our wedding, you hit me so violently. Zhao Xueqing said with an aggrieved face, these days, how are we like husband and wife? Black for life. At the mention of this, Jiang Tian was speechless. He felt guilty and quickly picked up the food. Let's eat, let's eat. After the meal, Jiang Tian wanted to wash the dishes. Zhao Xueqing stopped him and said, hubby will do the delicate work of cooking. Leave the rough work of washing the dishes to me. She made a cup of tea for Jiang Tian, then put away the dishes and walked into the kitchen. Actually, even if I don't cultivate, it's not bad to live a peaceful life with Xueqing like this. Jiang Tian sat on the sofa and drank the tea. He listened to Zhao Xueqing humming an unknown tune as she washed the dishes. He felt an indescribable sense of peace and satisfaction in his heart. Go take a shower and change your clothes. Zhao Xueqing washed the dishes and filled the bathtub for Jiang Tian. She took a new set of clothes and placed it in the bathroom. Jiang Tian walked into the bathroom and suddenly said with a teasing smile, Xueqing, aren't you going to take a shower with me? Wishful thinking. I'll fill the bathtub for you. Zhao Xueqing blushed and ran away. When Jiang Tian came out of the bathroom, Zhao Xueqing suddenly blinked and said, Jiang Tian, can you really catch ghosts? Is there really a ghost in the Crouching Dragon Villa? Yes. Jiang Tian didn't explain much. This was a mystery that involved the 6 paths of reincarnation and the existence of the soul. It was hard to explain in a few words. There really is a ghost, actually. After Jiang Tian improved the secret formula of the skin-nourishing ointment, Zhao Xueqing realized that Jiang Tian's brain was not only fine, but he was definitely not an ordinary person. But when she heard Jiang Tian's words, she was still shocked and in disbelief. Suddenly, Zhao Xueqing asked, oh right, Jiang Tian, do you want to catch the ghost for Tang Wanyan? Well, it doesn't matter. Jiang Tian sat down beside Zhao Xueqing and hugged her jade-like shoulder. Previously, Jiang Tian wanted to help Tang Wanyan catch the ghost. First, the Tang family helped him. Second, he could absorb the ghost qi and turn it into his own cultivation. But now, the most important thing was to find the other 5 elements and arrange the spirit-gathering array. It was faster than absorbing the ghost qi. So, Tang Wanyan begged along the way, but Jiang Tian didn't give him a definite answer. It all depended on his mood. Wow, my husband smells so good. Why didn't I notice it before? Zhao Xueqing felt the fresh and pleasant masculine aura on Jiang Tian's body, and she was instantly deeply attracted. Her heartbeat sped up, her beautiful face blushed slightly, and her eyes were intoxicated. Her nose slightly opened and closed as she secretly took 2 deep breaths. What are you doing? You're like a puppy. Jiang Tian saw her action and asked with a smile. I'm checking if you're clean and if there's any smell. Zhao Xueqing's face was so red that it almost dripped blood, and she stubbornly said. Oh. Jiang Tian didn't take it to heart. Suddenly, Zhao Xueqing hugged Jiang Tian's arm and said, by the way, my husband, why don't we go catch ghosts? I want to see. You want to see me catch ghosts? Aren't you afraid? Jiang Tian almost spat out the tea in his mouth. Qing'er's courage was quite big. Why didn't he notice it in his previous life? You're by my side, what do I have to be afraid of? Zhao Xueqing's face was full of pride and confidence. Okay then. Jiang Tian was helpless. When he was in the outer region, he was surrounded by danger and thousands of believers worshipped him. But Zhao Xueqing clearly treated it as a show. But for his beloved wife's smile, what's the harm? At the old cadre's residence, Tang Wanyan was in front of Elder Tang and begging, Dad, you can't just ignore this matter. Crouching Dragon Villa is my life's work. If there's always a ghost causing trouble, billions will go down the drain. You still have the face to ask me to step in. Elder Tang said angrily, I've lost all my face. You've offended Master Kong. Dad, it's all my fault for being blind. It's too late for regrets. Tang Wanyan was so worried that he almost cried. Third brother, you have to change your temper. You have to know that there's always someone better than you. Elder Tang said earnestly, how many more years can I live? How long can I help you? When the time comes, you'll have to rely on yourselves. He sighed and said, there's a saying in the martial arts world, grandmasters are like dragons. A martial Dao grandmaster was a godlike figure. For you to be so rude, Grandmaster Jiang not killing you is already showing mercy beyond the law. Ask him to catch ghosts and get rid of demons. Just give up on that idea. Dad, that's billions. Tang Wanyan wanted to cry but had no tears. He regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. In the past few days, dozens of people had died in Crouching Dragon Villa. Not to mention the loss of business, the compensation alone was tens of millions. He also invited a few famous feng shui masters to take a look. But when those geomancers went there to do something, they either fled in fright or went crazy for no reason. In Tang Wanyan's opinion, the villa was ruined. He had lost billions and lost everything. But at that moment, Tang Wanyan's cell phone rang. When he saw that it was Zhao Xueqing, he quickly picked it up and said with a smile, Mrs. Jiang, have you met Master Kong? Do you have any instructions? Oh, my husband wants to go to Crouching Dragon Villa to catch ghosts. Can he go tonight? Zhao Xueqing said. Ah. Master Kong changed his mind. Is he really going to do it? Of course, the sooner the better. Tang Wanyan was so excited that he jumped 3 feet high. Well, I want to see you catch ghosts, so my husband caught one for me. Zhao Xueqing said proudly. Ah. Tang Wanyan was speechless. Master Kong, you really dote on your wife. I begged you to catch ghosts until my mouth was sore, and I even offered 100 million yuan as a reward, but you didn't want to do it. Now, with a word from your wife, you are willing to do it. Tang Wanyan said that he would immediately drive to pick them up, but Zhao Xueqing was busy. Zhao Xueqing found a bulky protective suit and a huge glass helmet to wear. She took these from the company's laboratory and used them once during the cleaning. What are you doing wearing these? Are you going to be an astronaut? Jiang Tian spat out a mouthful of tea. He was overjoyed. Chapter 47. According to my speculation, the so-called ghosts should be some stray radiation energy, or perhaps some evil aura. As long as you put on a protective suit and isolate yourself, it will not be able to do anything to you. Zhao Xueqing said seriously. That makes sense. Jiang Tian almost couldn't control the smile on his face, but seeing her serious face, he found her cute no matter how he looked at her, so he just let her be. After a while, a Lincoln limousine pulled up in front of the villa. Tang Wanyan had arrived. The limousine was worth at least 3 million. Tang Wanyan was rich enough to own a few of these luxury cars. Grandmaster Jiang, madam, please come in. Tang Wanyan bowed with a flattering smile on his face, just like a doorman. However, when he saw Zhao Xueqing, Tang Wanyan was stunned. He tried to hold back his laughter as if he had seen a monster. What are you laughing at? This is the most advanced biochemical protective suit. My ghost-catching technique is a combination of traditional and modern techniques. Jiang Tian glared at Tang Wanyan as he held Zhao Xueqing's hand and got into the limousine. I am not laughing. Tang Wanyan was startled. He quickly tried to flatter Madame Jiang. I didn't know that Madame Jiang is also a ghost-catching master. What a perfect couple. Yeah, I am also very good at it. Zhao Xueqing was rather amused. She covered her mouth and chuckled with a proud expression on her face. Greetings, Master Kong. They chatted and laughed all the way to Crouching Dragon Villa. Dragon the Fifth, Zhou Zhenghao, and the others immediately came to greet them. Long Gatian even bowed down to Jiang Tian. The place used to be crowded with customers. However, there were only a few bodyguards present. The waiters and customers had all left. Everyone clustered around Jiang Tian and sat down in a large antique hall. Tang Wanyan made Jiang Tian a cup of tea. "Don't worry. I will make my move at midnight when the yin qi is at its strongest," Jiang Tian said lightly. Everyone sipped their tea in silence. They could all feel the chilliness that permeated the entire villa, making them feel rather uneasy. Other than a few people that Jiang Tian knew, there were also a few influential tycoons, and gang leaders in Linzhou. Moreover, these tycoons had also brought along a so-called spellcaster to help. There were feng shui masters and paper craftsmen. Tang Wanyan was not sure if they were real or fake. Jiang Tian smiled. "Third Lord Tang, this ghost is not an ordinary person. You must have done something wrong recently. Reporting to Grandmaster Jiang, I am ashamed." Tang Wanyan quickly bowed and said, "A few years ago, I raised a female university student. She accidentally got pregnant and forced me to divorce. But you also know that with our background, it's all a political marriage. How can we get divorced? I didn't agree, but she insisted on giving birth to the child. What's wrong with you?" Jiang Tian frowned. "I kicked her out of the house, cut off her bank card, and forced her to have an abortion. She couldn't take it anymore and committed suicide." Tang Wanyan said with shame. "How can you be such a scumbag?" Zhao Xueqing slammed the table and said angrily. "A real man should put his family first and love his partner. You made a big mistake by being half-hearted. You even forced the girl to have an abortion. You are worse than an animal." Tang Wanyan was embarrassed and apologized. "Madam Jiang, I know I was wrong. I won't do it again." "Humph. Scumbag. Jiang Tian, you are not allowed to work with such a bad person in the future." Zhao Xueqing did not even look at him. Madam Jiang's sense of justice is off the charts. Everyone was speechless, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. "Madam Jiang, I will turn over a new leaf." Tang Wanyan kept bowing and begging. He thought that he had really offended Madam Jiang this time. This ferocious ghost was transformed from that girl called Shirya. Jiang Tian said indifferently. "What? It's her." Tang Wanyan was shocked. He was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. "Yes, but behind Shirya, there is a powerful sorcerer helping her." Jiang Tian nodded. "Although Shirya's resentment is very strong, she died not long ago. It is difficult for her to form magical power." "What? There is a powerful sorcerer?" everyone exclaimed. "That's right. There is a powerful sorcerer who has raised many spirits to make her stronger." Jiang Tian seemed to be very familiar with it as he said calmly, "An ordinary yin spirit is merely a gust of resentment and yin qi. However, Shirya is a ferocious ghost. She has already gathered dermic powers and can be called a ghost king." "Ghost king?" Tang Wanyan was shocked. "Yes. The strength of ghosts is divided into levels. From weak to strong, they're divided into ghosts, ghost cultivators, ghost soldiers, ghost generals, ghost kings. Above them, there are even higher levels." Jiang Tian sipped his tea and spoke with a leisurely expression. "What is the strength of a ghost king?" Zhou Zhenghao interrupted. "A ghost king has already formed a free body. First, it is not afraid of the sun and can come and go freely. Second, it has substance and can produce physical attacks." Jiang Tian said. "In terms of physical attacks, a ghost king is comparable to a transcendent grandmaster." "What? That's terrifying." Everyone was shocked and could not believe it. What's more, ghosts are best at illusions and mental attacks that confuse people's minds. Jiang Tian peeled the dragon's eye for Zhao Xueqing and said lightly. So, a ghost king, in terms of overall strength, can easily defeat a transcendent grandmaster. Everyone shuddered with fear, and they were dumbstruck. The entire scene was deathly silent, perfectly silent. However, with me here today, catching that ghost will be a piece of cake. Jiang Tian said with a faint smile. Humph. What a big talk. Aren't you afraid that the wind will cut your tongue? Suddenly, a disdainful snort came from the door. An old man in a Tang suit walked in with a Taoist priest in a Taoist robe, holding a compass and carrying a peachwood sword. Behind the Taoist priest was a group of disciples, all of them wearing Taoist robes and holding Dharma artifacts. Elder Zheng, you are here. Seeing the old man in the Tang suit, Dragon Fifth and even Tang Wanyan stood up and bowed respectfully. Seeing Jiang Tian's displeasure, Zhou Zhenghao quickly explained. Master Kong, this is the chairman of the Guangxia group, Zheng Guangxia. The richest man in Linzhou city is a friend of the Third Lord. Oh, so it's him. Jiang Tian nodded slightly, his gaze distant. Zheng Guangxia was the richest man in Linzhou city. His Guangxia group was involved in real estate, hotels, tourism, shopping malls, finance and many other industries. Especially in the real estate industry, the Guangxia Group's influence was enormous, and it had become a monopoly with 20 billion in assets. The famous king of villas in Linzhou city was the benchmark project of the Guangxia Group. In Lingnan, Zheng Guangxia's reputation was as great as that of Yi Gufeng, the richest man in Donghai. He was so strong that even Dragon Fifth, Zhou Zhenghao, and the other Jianghu brothers were slightly inferior to him. Although Tang Wanyan had a powerful backer, in terms of wealth, he paled in comparison to Zheng Guangxia. Both the Third Lord and Elder Zheng are members of the Linzhou city's Chamber of Commerce and Industry. After the Third Lord was in trouble, he asked for help from many of his friends, and Elder Zheng helped to invite this calligraphy master. Zhou Zhenghao said in a low voice. He, Third Lord, Brother Dragon Fifth, sorry to keep you waiting. Zheng Guangxia saluted and greeted everyone. His aura was so powerful that it completely overpowered Tang Wanyan and Dragon Fifth. As for Zhou Zhenghao, he was even less of a match. After that, Zheng Guangxia pushed the Taoist out and said with a joyful face, "This is the master of the Maoshan sect, Master Yang Guochang." What? Master Yang Guochang of the Maoshan sect? Oh my god, today is an eye-opener. Even Master Yang is here. In Linzhou city, only Elder Zheng can invite Master Yang. A group of tycoons and Dharma cultivators showed deep admiration and exclaimed as if they had seen a god. Zhao Xueqing pulled Jiang Tian's sleeve and asked curiously, "Is this master very powerful?" Jiang Tian didn't recognize him and shook his head gently. Zhou Zhenghao hurriedly explained, "Madam Jiang, this Master Yang is very famous in Huaxia's spell world. Legend has it that he used to be blind. He joined the Maoshan sect at the age of 10 and regained his sight 3 years later. He was able to tell the difference between ghosts and gods and feng shui." In 1998, the son of Superman Li, a tycoon in Hong Kong, was kidnapped and his wife was killed in a car accident. His company's share price plummeted and he asked Master Yang to help him. Everything went smoothly for Superman Li and he became the richest man in Hong Kong. In 2001, the Snake King was found at the construction site of Wang Lei, a real estate tycoon in Huaxia. There were a lot of safety accidents and Wang Lei fell seriously ill. Master Yang went to the construction site and cast a spell. The Snake King was forced to retreat and Wang Lei was cured. The construction site was safe and sound after that. In 2003, Zhou Zhenghao was well informed and he had heard of Master Yang's deeds. All of them were major events that shook the Jianghu. Although Yang Guochang was almost 60 years old, he didn't look old at all. He was hale and hearty and looked like an immortal. Zhao Xueqing looked at Yang Guochang with curiosity as if she had just opened a door to a whole new world. Master Yang has a high reputation in the field of feng shui. Many tycoons and government officials saw it as an honor to know Master Yang and ask him to help them with feng shui. Zhou Zhenghao heaved a sigh and looked at Master Yang with yearning. He was also a big boss in Linzhou City, but compared to Yang Guochang, he was like an ant. While they were talking, Yang Guochang had finished his small talk with everyone. Zheng Guangsha quickly gestured at Yang Guochang and pointed at an armchair. Master Yang, please take a seat. All right, Elder Zheng thinks too highly of me. Yang Guochang said politely, but he still took the responsibility to sit down. Yang Guochang sipped his tea and suddenly looked at Jiang Tian. He asked in a strange tone. This little brother, what a boastful tone you had just now. Which sect are you from? The Chuanzhen sect or the Heavenly Master sect of Dragon Tiger Mountain? Do you practice inner alchemy or talisman charms? After he came in, everyone got up to greet him. Jiang Tian was the only one who stayed still, which annoyed him a lot. Oh, I am Jiang Tian. I am a self-taught prodigy who does not belong to any sect. I believe you know a little bit about all kinds of things. Jiang Tian smiled faintly. Yang Guochang laughed as if he had just heard the funniest joke in the world. So you mean you know everything, immortal Master Jiang? He then pointed at Zhao Xueqing and said with a smile, are you here to catch ghosts, young lady? You are wearing a glass helmet and a protective suit. Why do I think you look like an astronaut? Are you going to Mars? Ha ha ha, this is hilarious. Who would use spells to catch ghosts like that? Look at you. I would think you are cosplaying. The disciples of the Mao Shan sect all mocked him. Third Master, you're really turning to any doctor you can find when you're sick. You even found a swindler. Zheng Guangsha and some other tycoons who did not know about Jiang Tian shook their heads and smiled bitterly. Zhao Xueqing only realized that she had made a big fool of herself after hearing all the mockery. The little girl's face suddenly turned red. She grabbed Jiang Tian's big hand and teared up. She said with a trembling voice, Jiang Tian, have I embarrassed you? Chapter 48. Don't worry, it's just a phantom king. You can wear anything you want. Jiang Tian hurriedly comforted his wife. Jiang Tian looked at Yang Guochang and said with a smile, what's so great about going to Mars? I have been there before. He did not care about what others thought of him, but he could not bear to see Zhao Xueqing being bullied. He snorted and said, Yang Guochang, if I kill that phantom king today, you will kowtow to my wife and apologize. Everyone was stunned. They looked at Jiang Tian as if he was an idiot. After a long while, they burst into laughter. He must be an alien. Go back to Mars. Earth is too dangerous. How dare you provoke immortal Master Yang? Ignorance is bliss. You want my master to kneel to an alien? Are you not afraid of biting your tongue? A Mao Mountain disciple laughed. Tang Wanyan and the others were embarrassed. Zhou Zhenghao, on the other hand, couldn't take it anymore. He stood up and yelled angrily, shut up. You don't know what Master Kong is capable of. He is a martial arts grandmaster. What? He is a martial arts grandmaster. Hearing this, everyone's expression changed. They were in disbelief. Yang Guochang did not buy it at all. Even if he is a martial arts grandmaster, he is still a martial arts grandmaster. No matter how powerful he is, it is useless. Yeah, what can a martial arts grandmaster do when it comes to catching ghosts? You really believe his nonsense? When have I ever seen a martial Dao grandmaster in his 20s boasting so much? What a joke. Hee hee. There is nothing for you to do here. Get out of here. Many Mao Mountain disciples laughed. They did not believe that Jiang Tian was capable of such a feat. Some of them even tried to chase Jiang Tian away. Yang Guochang, you can't hurt a hair on that phantom king. Jiang Tian crossed his legs in a leisurely manner and said with a faint smile, I advise you to hurry up and go back. Don't kill Qingqing. There was dead silence, and many people sucked in a breath of cold air. This brat was really arrogant. He actually dared to reprimand Yang Guochang. If Grandmaster Yang couldn't do it, could it be that he could? PFFF. At this moment, a young girl sitting behind Zheng Guangxia suddenly laughed out loud. Shaoli, what's wrong? Zheng Guangxia frowned and looked a little unhappy. Zhengli was Zheng Guangxia's distant niece. Due to a failed relationship, she fell out with her family. Elder Zheng brought her along and nurtured her for a few years. This Zhengli's eyes and brows were penetrating, and she was efficient in her work. Therefore, in a short period of time, she had reached the middle management of the Guangxia Corporation. Zheng Guangxia thought to himself, this girl has never made a mistake before. Why did she suddenly laugh on such an occasion? Jiang Tian looked up and couldn't help laughing. What a coincidence, it turned out to be his university classmate, Zheng Li. Casting a deep glance at Jiang Tian, Zheng Li smiled. Uncle, he's my university classmate, and I still don't know about him. He was ignorant and incompetent in college. Now he is working as a public relations officer in Zhao Pharmaceutical Company. He can drink well, but as for fighting, what kind of martial Dao master is he? Zheng Li's voice wasn't loud, but it was completely silent at that time. Everyone heard her clearly. This is ridiculous. Zheng Guangxia slapped his thigh and glanced at Jiang Tian with disdain. Such a swindler offended Master Yang again and again. He was afraid that Master Yang wouldn't be happy. He might even fling his sleeves and leave. At his level, he could talk to the mayor and the secretary as equals. If Elder Tang was here, he would treat him seriously. But he didn't need to give face to Elder Tang's descendants. As for Tang Wanyan's friends, he didn't care about them at all. Today's exorcism involved the fate of Crouching Dragon Villa, which was worth billions. On such an important occasion, Tang Wanyan invited a small public relations officer from a small company to be a master worshipper. This was simply a disgrace to the Tang family. Immortal Master Yang, Master Kong is my guest. Please give me some face. Tang Wanyan couldn't afford to offend either side. He was in a dilemma and could only put on a smile. Yang Guochang sneered and said with disdain, what an ant. I, Yang Guochang, am a master. Why would I lower myself to his level? Although he said that, he was actually very angry in his heart. He raised his hand and pointed at Jiang Tian. Kid, I'll show you how the Maoshan sect can catch ghosts and subdue demons. In the next moment, he shouted loudly, where's the glutinous rice flour, glutinous rice milk? According to the Shijing Miscellany, Lady Qi ate peng bait to ward off evil spirits. Peng bait was a kind of pastry made with glutinous rice and lotus seeds. This showed that the Hua-Xia people used glutinous rice to ward off evil spirits since the Western Han Dynasty. The ancient people also used glutinous rice to build brick tombs to prevent evil spirits from leaking out. Following Yang Guochang's instructions, a Maoshan sect disciple sprinkled glutinous rice flour in the hall, leaving only a narrow passage between Tang Wanyan and Yang Guochang. Another disciple brought over a bucket filled with white glutinous rice flour. Yang Guochang took it and said, Third Master, please forgive me. He poured the glutinous rice flour on Tang Wanyan's face. Oh my God! What the hell is this? At this moment, everyone exclaimed in unison. Many of them were so scared that their guts were about to explode. They even scrambled behind the bodyguards, trembling all over. After the glutinous rice flour was poured down, a little ghost riding on Tang Wanyan's neck suddenly appeared. It was a baby who didn't seem to be fully developed. He was skinny and had a big head. He was naked and covered with only a layer of white glutinous rice flour. Under the light of the crystal chandelier, he looked pale and bloodless, which made him even more terrifying. Oh my, this is so scary. What is this? Zhao Xueqing held Jiang Tian's hand tightly. She was so scared that her face turned pale. That dead baby, Jiang Tian sighed softly and comforted her with a smile. Don't be afraid. I'm here. It can't hurt you at all. Although many of the bodyguards were retired professional soldiers, and many of them had practiced martial arts and were very good at fighting, they had never seen such a situation before. They were all pale with fright and didn't know whether to run or stay. "Master Yang, save me." At that moment, Tang Wanyan saw the scene through the reflection of the glass window. He was so scared that his face turned pale and his body trembled like a sieve. Hiss! Roar! The little ghost was very uncomfortable with the glutinous rice flour. Its face was ferocious, and it bared its teeth and kept roaring at the crowd. "Humph, it's just a little ghost. It only has 3 to 5 years of cultivation. It's nothing. Watch me subdue it." Yang Guochang didn't panic at all. His face was calm and as steady as Mount Tai. Compared to the panicked crowd, he looked more like a master. He snorted and took out a black clay pot. The clay pot was engraved with many strange talismans. The talismans were curved and red like blood. The paste was thick, and it was black and shiny because of the sweat on his hands. It was unknown how long it had been passed down. At a glance, one could tell that it was definitely not an ordinary item. "Little friend, it's time for you to be on your way. Come." He opened the lid and chanted a string of obscure incantations. It was full of charm. Strangely enough, the little ghost obediently jumped down from Tang Wanyan's neck and walked along the path made of glutinous rice powder to Yang Guochang's side. With a leap, it turned into a puff of black smoke and was sucked into the clay pot. "Pa!" Yang Guochang closed the lid and smiled proudly. "Everyone, please return to your seats. This little ghost has been subdued by me. It won't be able to cause trouble anymore. An expert. Immortal Master Yang is still the best. He subdued the evil spirit with one move. He really is a god." The tycoons returned to their seats and wiped the cold sweat from their foreheads. Their faces were full of reverence as they praised Yang Guochang. "Thank you, Immortal Master Yang, for saving my life. Someone, come." Tang Wanyan regained his composure and thanked Yang Guochang repeatedly. One of his subordinates held up a bank card that he had prepared in advance with both hands. Tang Wanyan smiled and said, "Master, this is a reward of 50 million yuan. Please accept it." "Yes, third master, thank you for your generosity." Yang Guochang's expression didn't change as he casually accepted the bank card. He had accumulated a net worth of hundreds of millions. A mere 50 million yuan was nothing to him. Immortal Master Yang's spells are so profound that even ghosts and gods would be afraid of him. As expected of the orthodox Mao Shan sect. We are all in awe. Immortal Master Yang is truly a master. Now that I've seen you today, I know that there is always someone better than you. I've been living in a dog's stomach for the past few decades. The feng shui master and the papermaking master also bowed and cupped their fists, worshipping Yang Guochang as if he was a god. They only knew some simple feng shui techniques. How could they compare with Yang Guochang, who could exorcise ghosts and spirits? "Ha, it's just a small trick. You don't have to be so humble." Yang Guochang glanced at the crowd triumphantly and said in a deep voice, "Fine. I'll be a good person to the end today. I'll help you all the way and refine this little ghost. I'll destroy his body and soul and eliminate all future troubles. From now on, Third Master and Crouching Dragon Villa will have a smooth journey. Thank you so much, Immortal Master Yang. I'll never forget your great kindness." Tang Wanyan quickly got up and thanked Yang Guochang. "Great. If Immortal Master Yang can refine this little ghost with his powerful spells, I'm afraid no evil spirits will dare to approach Third Master in the future." Zhen Guangsha also nodded and praised with a face full of reverence. "Immortal Master Yang is truly a master. Great. It's really an eye-opener to be able to witness Master Yang Guochang restrain a ghost with my own eyes. It's a blessing." Everyone had a look of reverence and admiration as they nodded and praised. Yang Guochang easily captured the little ghost, and their hearts immediately calmed down. They completely forgot about the fear they had just now. At this moment, they were completely in the mood of watching a show, and were extremely excited. Yang Guocheng, quit while you're ahead. Don't be rash. At this moment, Jiang Tian, who had been silent all this time, suddenly said coldly. What? Jiang Tian, Immortal Master Yang is about to perform a ritual. How can an outsider like you interfere? Get out. Immortal Master Yang is powerful. Who do you think you are? You're just a piece of trash. How dare you talk nonsense? Many tycoons scolded. Other than this little ghost, there's an even scarier ghost. Jiang Tian ate a grape and said calmly, her power is profound. Her magic power is profound. She's not someone a mere Yang Guocheng like you can control. However, if you don't listen to my advice and want to refine this little ghost, I won't stop you. As soon as these words came out, everyone was enraged. They wanted to skin Jiang Tian alive. Chapter 49. Shut up. Who do you think you are? How dare you disrespect Immortal Master Yang? Immortal Master Yang can't deal with it, but you think you can? Many disciples of the Maoshan sect were furious as they berated Jiang Tian. Humph. I received the teachings of the Maoshan sect at the age of 10, and opened my third eye at the age of 28. I'm proficient in geomancy, exorcism, and the arts of Taoism. I've captured the evil spirit of Li Chao's family in Hong Kong, fought the Snake King at Wang Lei's construction site, and quelled the plague in Zhongzhou. What's a mere evil spirit to me? Yang Guocheng looked as if he had been greatly insulted after hearing that. His face was filled with anger as he smirked coldly, I'll kill any evil spirit that comes my way today. If a pair comes my way, I'll kill both of them. I'll show you what a true master of sorcery looks like, you arrogant brat. Yang Guocheng cursed for a bit before ignoring Jiang Tian. He put the pot on the tea table and made a gesture with his hands while chanting. The Grand Supreme Elderly Lord commands with haste. Amnesty. Yang Guocheng stomped his foot and shouted. It was as if a clap of thunder was heard, shocking everyone in the room. Refine. His face was flushed as he shouted and waved his fingers at the black pot. A beam of light hit the pot. The earthen jar buzzed and trembled non-stop. The talisman on the pot suddenly shone with red light, which condensed into a virtual shadow that shrouded the entire pot. The entire hall became scorching hot as soon as the talisman shone. It was as if the air conditioner had stopped working, and everyone was exposed to the scorching sun. This is amazing. All the tycoons present were dumbfounded as they stared at the pot. That's a power item. This is a real power item. The paper cutter kept rubbing his hands, and his eyes were filled with fanatical envy, like a pervert who saw a naked beauty. This is probably the treasure of the Maoshan sect, the ghost-subduing soul-refining pot. That geomancer, Mr. Qi, was also full of admiration. He said enviously, the heritage of the Maoshan sect is not something you or I can imagine. When such a magical artifact appears, what kind of evil spirit cannot avoid it? As Yang Guocheng cast the spell, the jar began to refine the little ghost. Suddenly, a shrill scream came from the jar. The jar began to vibrate even more violently. The little ghost was struggling with all its might inside, causing everyone's hair to stand on end. Many rich people were trembling as they watched. Gradually, the little ghost's screams became softer and softer. Finally, there was no sound at all. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that this little brat was about to be refined. Tang Wanyan wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and laughed in relief. Ha, this brat has harmed me for so many years. He's finally finished. Hee, Mr. Jiang, what do you think of my ghost-catching skills? Yang Guocheng proudly glanced at Jiang Tian and asked. Oh, it's all right. Jiang Tian was comforting the frightened Xiao Xueqing. When he heard the question, he casually responded. Jiang Tian had traveled in outer space for tens of thousands of years. He had seen all kinds of magic, and formations. He had almost gathered all the knowledge in the cultivation world. It was just a simple and crude ghost-subduing art. Jiang Tian was already giving him a lot of face by giving him such an evaluation. What? It's all right. Everyone thought that Jiang Tian would flatter Yang Guochang, but they could not believe it when they heard such a cold evaluation. They even thought that they were hallucinating. Humph, ignorant kid. Do you know anything or not? Zheng Guangsha snorted and said disdainfully, well, you're shallow. How could you understand Master Yang's power? Yang Guochang used the Mao Shan sect's ultimate skill to capture ghosts and spirits to ward off disasters. Yet, Zheng Guangsha called it, all right. How ignorant was that? How could he be shallow? Yang Guochang sneered and said, no matter how ignorant he is, he should be able to see that I've already caught this kid. He should also know how powerful my magic is. The sneer on his face became more intense. He sneered and said, he's obviously blind. How dare he be so disrespectful to Master Yang? If it were my place, I would have kicked him out. A big shot sneered. Yes. Master Yang is an immortal master in the metaphysic realm. That's all right. Have you already cultivated a Taoist body? The Feng Shui master, Mr. Qi, pointed at Jiang Tian and scolded him with disdain. Zheng Guangsha looked at Tang Wanyan and said sarcastically, Wanyan, if you don't want to do it, I'll let my bodyguards do it. Elder Zheng, please don't do that. We're all friends. Tang Wanyan smiled bitterly. He did not want to see Jiang Tian at this moment. Although it was said that Jiang Tian was a god who could swallow souls, condense qi into a fist, kill Fu Biao, and kill the white ape, those were all legends. Tang Wanyan had never seen it with his own eyes. But he had seen Yang Guochang's invincible might clearly. Humph, you're nothing in front of me, Kang Te Chu. I'm overestimating you by saying that you're just passable. Jiang Tian said coldly without changing his expression. I'm already giving you face by saying that your soul-capturing technique is passable. If you speak the truth, then you're nothing. The Taichu Celestial Lord, who once dominated the universe and was admired by thousands of grand cultivators, sages, and immortal kings, was now called an ignorant kid by a few ordinary people. If not for Xueqing by the side, with Jiang Tian's character, he would have long crushed them to death. Humph, a frog at the bottom of a well. I won't lower myself to his level. Seeing that Tang Wanyan relied heavily on Jiang Tian, Yang Guochang was angry, but he pretended to be a master. Ah, Master Yang is really a master. Such an ordinary person is disrespectful to you, but you don't have to worry about it. Many tycoons and spell masters present showered Yang Guochang with flattery. However, at that moment, a sudden gust of wind blew. Sand and stones flew and the glutinous rice noodles on the ground were blown away. The crystal chandelier flickered frequently. In the end, it turned into darkness. The temperature in the hall plummeted as if it was the coldest day of the year. Fuck, why is there a power outage? In the pitch-black darkness, the tycoons screamed again. All of them felt their hair stand on end and were extremely flustered. In the darkness, everyone felt as if there was a pair of venomous eyes staring at them. That feeling really made their scalps tingle. Don't be afraid, everyone. Yang Guochang shook his hand and a luminous pearl appeared in his palm, illuminating the entire hall. Clap, clap, clap. Crystal chandeliers lit up one by one, but everyone sucked in a breath of cold air at the same time. There was a woman next to Tang Wanyan. She was a very beautiful woman. She was wearing a blue cheongsam with white flowers, and her long hair draped over her shoulders. Her face was so soft and beautiful. Her pair of beautiful eyes were as calm as a deep pool, making people completely intoxicated. However, she was surrounded by a dark aura. All the green plants in the hall withered and the flowers withered. It made people's scalps tingle. Sure ya. It's you. However, Tang Wanyan was already scared out of his wits. He was trembling violently and cold sweat poured out. In an instant, his whole body was soaked as if he was fished out of the water. At that moment, everyone suddenly realized something and rushed out crazily. However, before they could reach the door. Clang! 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 All the doors and windows were automatically closed. Even if the men used all their strength, they could not open the door. What's wrong? Tang Wanyan, are you not happy to see your old lover? Do you dislike me because I've become ugly? Shurya suddenly opened her mouth and looked at Tang Wanyan affectionately. Her voice was very gentle, but when it sounded, it inexplicably made people's hearts jump and their bodies turn cold. Even though Tang Wanyan was a big shot, he was scared out of his wits. Snot and tears flowed down his face. He said pitifully, Immortal Master Yang, haha, you do have some skills. However, since you've met this master today, it's time for you to pass on to heaven. Yang Guochang said coldly. He opened the black jar and pointed the mouth of the jar at Shurya. Then, he began to chant and cast the spell again. You dared to hurt my child. You deserve to die. Shurya's face was calm. She stared at Yang Guochang and said coldly, if you dare to act rashly, I'll suck your soul and flesh dry. You'll never be reincarnated. She raised her right hand and pinched the void. Crack! Crack! The ghost refining jug, the treasure of the Maoshan sect, shattered in an instant, and the ghost child jumped out. What? Yang Guochang was so scared that his face turned pale. His eyes were wide open, revealing a look of horror and disbelief. He subconsciously took a few steps back. The ghost refining jug had been passed down for hundreds of years and had refined countless evil spirits. It was very powerful and indestructible. However, it was shattered by the ghost child's pinch. Let me help you, master. A disciple of the Maoshan sect pinched his finger and stabbed at Shurya with a peachwood sword. Trash! You dare to act rashly in front of me with just this bit of cultivation? Shurya's pretty face turned cold. She snorted and waved her slender hand gently. A copious and irresistible force swept out in all directions, and with a crack, the peachwood sword was broken. That disciple was sent flying like a rag doll. He crashed into the wall with a loud bang and kept vomiting blood. His head tilted to one side, and he died. Die, evildoer! Another disciple wielded a soul-guiding white banner and swung it at Shurya. However, all of a sudden, he saw a series of horrifying scenes and was stunned on the spot. No! This is impossible. His son was killed by a car, his wife was having an affair with another man, his mother was killed by his wife and her lover. These scenes were so vivid that they flashed before his eyes like a merry-go-round. It's fake. Impossible. The disciple threw away the white banner and hugged his head. His eyes were glazed over and filled with hatred. He murmured, I will kill them. Kill them. Shurya had shattered the black jug with a flick of her finger and killed one of the Maoshan sect disciples. Yang Guochang was scared out of his wits. She's the ferocious ghost with the heaviest resentment and baleful aura I've ever seen. She's also absorbed a lot of living souls, so her dermic powers are even stronger. Even if my master were here personally, he probably wouldn't be able to suppress her. Yang Guochang's legs were trembling. His face was ashen and his eyes were filled with despair. In the end, he knelt on the ground and begged. I don't know the immensity of heaven and earth and have offended great deity Shurya. Please forgive me and spare my life. Shurya, stop. Right at this moment, Jiang Tian slowly stood up, sighed softly and said. Jiang Tian, you, Zhao Xueqing wanted to grab Jiang Tian, but she missed. She was so shocked that her beautiful eyes were wide open and her face was deathly pale. What are you doing? When Yang Guochang saw a tall figure walk past him towards Shurya, his eyes could not help but stare until they became perfectly round. I am going to get rid of her. Jiang Tian said lightly as he walked over. You are crazy. Zhen Guangxia exclaimed. Even immortal Master Yang could not defeat such a vengeful ghost. What can you do? I have been waiting for her for too long. Jiang Tian smiled faintly and walked towards Shirya in large strides, facing the monstrous fiendish aura. Chapter 50. This brat is trying to get us killed. Shirya only wanted to kill Tang Wanyan, but now that Jiang Tian has infuriated Shirya, I am afraid that all of us will be in trouble. Zhen Guangxia's face contorted in despair as he felt a bitter taste in his mouth. Go to hell first. Shirya's resentment soared to the sky. She wanted to start a massacre. She raised her hand toward Yang Guochang. Her fingers seemed to be stained with oil as they nimbly flicked a few times. Great Immortal, please spare my life. Yang Guochang's face paled as he exclaimed. Suddenly, he felt some movement in front of him. He looked down and saw a swarm of venomous snakes and scorpions crawling onto his body. Yang Guochang immediately fell into the nest of insects. He couldn't even see his face. He struggled and screamed in agony. Ah! Fire! Burn me to death! Tang Wanyan's body was suddenly engulfed in flames. He struggled and screamed as if he was in purgatory. Everyone was petrified by the turn of events. Some tycoons' faces turned ashen as they trembled uncontrollably. Zheng Li's face turned pale as tears streamed down her cheeks. Even Yang Guochang was about to be killed. No one would be able to escape today. Meanwhile, Immortal Master Yang and Tang Wanyan were trapped. The Feng Shui Master and Immortal Master knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. I, Zhen Guangxia, have dominated Lin Zhou for decades, but I have never expected to die here today. This evil ghost is so powerful that even the Buddha Lord would not be able to kill it today. Zhen Guangxia's face was filled with despair. He had given up on his last struggle. Tears streamed down his cheeks as he pulled out his cell phone and made a call. My son's mother, I am afraid that I won't be able to go home to drink soup today. Tang Wanyan, you are guilty, but evil does not take advantage of a virtuous family. If you are willing to donate 200 million to charity, I will save you. Jiang Tian linked his hands behind his back and walked toward the Ghost Lord. I am willing. I am willing. Tang Wanyan didn't believe that Jiang Tian could save him. However, Jiang Tian was his only hope. How could he let him go? Everyone was stunned by the turn of events. Even Yang Guochang couldn't help but yell in his mind, this evil spirit can't even be stopped by the Mao Mountain spells, and it can even use spiritual attacks. You're just a kid who doesn't know his place, and you're still trying to take it head-on. Aren't you courting death? You're at death's door and you're still bragging here. Zhen Guangxia's eyes were filled with despair as he helplessly shook his head. All right, I hope you don't break your promise. Jiang Tian nodded lightly. All Dharma is like a dream, an illusion, a bubble, and a shadow. Like dew and like lightning, it should be observed as such. At this time, Jiang Tian walked to a position 3 meters away from Shirya and stood still. He recited a gatha and then shouted, this is all an illusion. If you don't believe me, they don't exist. This thunderous shout was like a great bell, resounding throughout the entire place and stirring the hearts and souls of everyone present. Strangely enough, when they heard Jiang Tian's shout, Yang Guochang and Tang Wanyan seemed to have been enlightened, and their minds became clear. A series of shattering sounds could be heard. The raging flames and poisonous insects suddenly disappeared, as if they had never appeared. Oh my God, how did he do that? Zhao Xueqing's face was filled with disbelief. Her husband was not bragging, he really was a Dharma master. Your Dharma master is far more powerful than that young guy. You can see that all this is an illusion. Not bad. Shirya's beautiful eyes twinkled as she spoke in a very gentle tone. In my opinion, this little trick of yours is nothing more than a small trick. It's not worth mentioning. Jiang Tian said lightly. Shirya, only barren hills and unruly rivers can nourish evil spirits. This place is full of yang qi, so it's not suitable for you to stay here for long. I'm afraid you'll be killed. Boy, do you think you're a disaster for me? You think too highly of yourself. Shirya's face was distorted and full of mournful ferocity. She snorted coldly and said, shameless boasting, I don't know how many mortal bodies like yours I've killed. I've already given you a chance. If you continue to be stubborn, I'll destroy your soul. Jiang Tian paced slowly with his hands behind his back. His posture was leisurely and his face was calm. It was as if Shirya was an ant that he could crush at any time. Shirya stared at Jiang Tian with murderous intent in her eyes. Fine, since you've delivered yourself to death today, I'll use your qi blood to nourish my body. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, numerous pitch-black baleful auras surged over from all directions like surging tides, and it was terrifying to the extreme. Shirya absorbed the yin qi and her body became more condensed. She continued to grow taller and finally completely transformed into a tall black demon. Jiang Tian, I'll send you to heaven. The black demon that Shirya had transformed into let out a thunderous roar and charged toward Jiang Tian aggressively. This black demon was more than 2.5 meters tall. It was very powerful and heavy. When it stomped on the ground, the marble floor cracked inch by inch and the house shook as if it would collapse in the next moment. The soaring murderous aura swept in all directions and frightened everyone in the hall. Their faces changed drastically and they trembled. Prepare to die. It's your honor to die in my hands. The black demon that Shirya transformed into rushed in front of Jiang Tian in the blink of an eye. Its giant claws that were covered in scales grabbed toward Jiang Tian's neck as fast as lightning. It's not easy for a resentful spirit to cultivate to this level. Unfortunately, you've fallen into the devil's path and met me today. In response, Jiang Tian's expression was calm. He smiled faintly and shook his head gently as if he was very disappointed. Lightning, come. An incomparably majestic voice came out of Jiang Tian's mouth softly. Following this sentence, a bolt of lightning appeared in Jiang Tian's hand without any warning. Originally, it was the most violent existence in the natural world. At this moment, it was dancing around Jiang Tian's fingertips like a gentle kitten, adding a sacred and inviolable aura to Jiang Tian. What's this? Shen Guangxia exclaimed. His eyes almost popped out and all the hair on his body stood on end. Thunder and lightning control. Could it be the thunder technique of the celestial master sect of Longhu Mountain? Yang Guochang was so shocked that his face was distorted. His eyes were full of astonishment. Looking at the godlike Jiang Tian, he actually had an impulse to worship him. Isn't this too exaggerated? Tang Wanyan was in a cold sweat. He looked at the flashing lightning in disbelief and swallowed his saliva. He had heard many legends about Jiang Tian and regarded Jiang Tian as an expert. However, the scene in front of him made him realize that he had underestimated Jiang Tian's strength. Under the gaze of reverence, Jiang Tian at this time controlled thunder and lightning like a god. Immortal master, a real immortal master. Extraordinary. Feng Shui master Mr. Qi knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing. Oh my god, is my husband performing magic? Zhao Xueqing's beautiful eyes widened. Her delicate body trembled violently and she muttered to herself in disbelief. What? You can control thunder and lightning? Seeing this, Shirya was shocked. Her eyes were filled with fear on her face that was shrouded in black gas. Thunderbolts were extremely young and tough, extremely strong and powerful. They were the nemesis of yin spirits and evil spirits. They were like natural enemies to yin spirits and evil spirits. However, the thunder technique was also the most difficult technique in the world to master. Even the experts of the celestial master sect of Longhu Mountain could not perform it. At this time, seeing Jiang Tian raise his hand to control thunder and lightning, how could Shirya not be shocked? She was like a mouse that saw a cat, scared out of her wits. She knew that she was no match for him, but her reaction was quick. Black wind rolled and she rushed to the door like lightning. Go! The voice fell into Shirya's ears, and she could not help but shudder. She jerked her head back and saw a flickering lightning snake rushing toward her. It ran away. At that time, everyone was shocked. Jiang Tian had not made a move, but the Ghost King had run away. It was obvious who was stronger and who was weaker. Don't let it run away. Tang Wanyin exclaimed. Master Kong, take advantage of the victory and pursue it. Yang Guochang hurriedly reminded loudly. He even changed the way he addressed Jiang Tian to show his respect. Want to run? Go! Jiang Tian smiled disdainfully and flicked his finger. Chi! The thunder and lightning in Jiang Tian's hand turned into a lightning snake and rushed out. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared into the Ghost King's body. I can't accept this. Ghost King Shirya screamed and struggled with all her might, but it was useless. Lightning flashed in her body, and in the blink of an eye, a raging flame burned in her body. Ah! It hurts. The shrill scream pierced the eardrums and sent chills down everyone's spines. In just 1 or 2 seconds, Ghost King Shirya turned into ashes. The interior of the hall was a mess, but the dark and cold aura had disappeared without a trace, and the temperature gradually rose. Seeing this scene, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Controlling thunder and lightning and killing the Ghost King with a flick of his finger. Master Kong must be a Taoist body cultivator. He can be called a perfected person. Yang Guochang was shocked and regretted. He murmured with dull eyes, I was disrespectful to a real immortal master just now. Just now, I was blind and called him an ignorant child. How could I have offended such an expert? Zheng Guangxia smiled sadly. He felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar, and his whole body was cold. Jiang Tian was so powerful that he could kill him as easily as taking something out of his pocket. However, he humiliated Jiang Tian again and again. At this time, he could not help but feel scared. Thank you, Master Kong, for saving my life. This Tang will never forget it. Tang Wanyan recovered at this time. He walked quickly to Jiang Tian, bowed deeply, and said with the most grateful and reverent voice in his life. I hope you remember your promise. Jiang Tian gently nodded. At this time, Jiang Tian's eyes fell on Yang Guochang. He said in a deep voice, Taoist Yang, you dare to act rashly and disrespect me and my wife again and again. Now let me ask you, are you convinced? I'm convinced. I'm convinced. Yang Guochang's body trembled. He knelt on the ground and kowtowed as if he was pounding garlic. Before this, he repeatedly disrespected Jiang Tian and Zhao Xueqing and regarded Jiang Tian as an arrogant and ignorant person. However, Jiang Tian's Taoist skills were so powerful that he could kill evil ghosts like cutting melons and vegetables. Such a magical skill had already scared Yang Guochang out of his wits. If Jiang Tian wanted to crush him, it would be like crushing an ant. Your Taoist skills are so weak, yet you are so arrogant. I'll reprimand you. Are you convinced? Jiang Tian put his hands behind his back and took a step forward. His gaze was as sharp as a knife. Master Kang's reprimand makes sense. I'm convinced. I'm convinced. Yang Guochang kept on kowtowing, banging his head on the ground. His forehead cracked, and blood gushed out from it. If he did not insist on refining the evil ghost, Shirya would not have been so enraged and killed 2 Mao Mountain disciples in a row. Jiang Tian might have persuaded her to move them to a place with dense yin qi in the forest. There was no need to fight at all. They could settle it peacefully. I've smashed your reputation, ruined your business, and made you kneel and kowtow. Are you convinced? Jiang Tian put his hands behind his back and took another step forward. His aura was overwhelming. I'm convinced. I'm convinced. I'm convinced. Yang Guochang's entire body was trembling. He was like a rabbit that had seen a ferocious tiger. All right, since you're convinced, I won't punish you today. Get out of here. Don't let me see you in Lin State again. Jiang Tian nodded in satisfaction and said calmly. Yes, yes, yes. I'll get out of here right now. Yang Guochang did not even dare to raise his head. He led a group of disciples out of the door. Chapter 51. Please keep what happened tonight a secret for me. Jiang Tian glanced at Zheng Guangxia and the others indifferently. Jiang Tian didn't want anyone to know about the existence of ghosts and deities, which would affect his peaceful life. All the tycoons in the room felt a chill run down their spines as soon as they met Jiang Tian's indifferent eyes. Even Zheng Guangxia, a tycoon in Linzhou, felt a chill run down his spine. He bowed and said, "Don't worry, Master Kong. We will follow your order and never say a word about it to anyone else." Yang Guochang was a powerful figure. He was able to drink with the richest man in Hong Kong and was able to make a city official call him master. However, he was still defeated by Jiang Tian and begged for mercy. Thinking about Jiang Tian's ability to control lightning and slay ghosts and demons, Zheng Guangxia was just an ordinary man no matter how rich and powerful he was. He couldn't help but feel fear and respect for Jiang Tian. The other tycoons also nodded and wished that they could write a letter with blood on the spot to convince Jiang Tian to trust them. Jiang Tian stood proudly in the room and made all the tycoons in the room submit to him. That kind of disdainful spirit was rarely seen even in the big shots at the provincial level. At this moment, Zheng Li's beautiful eyes were wide open as she stared at Jiang Tian in disbelief. I originally thought that he wasn't afraid of Ho Tianlai because he was Zhou Zhenghao's friend. Only now do I realize that he himself is the one he's relying on. Looking at Jiang Tian who stood in the middle of the hall with his hands behind his back, Zheng Li was shocked. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't reconcile him with that university classmate who was just sitting around and waiting to die. No wonder he didn't take Ho Tianlai seriously. No wonder he didn't care about Master Yang and Zheng Guangxia. No wonder he didn't even flinch when Master Yang captured ghosts. It turned out that he had such great ability. He could control lightning and slay ghosts. Even though Jiang Tian was dressed in ordinary clothes, he still had an irresistible charm in Zheng Li's eyes. Sigh, when I was in university, I was also a class belle, and he seemed to have a good impression of me. But at that time, why didn't I see through his surface? If I had pursued him then, he would definitely be my boyfriend now. Zheng Li had a complicated look in her eyes. Her heart was filled with frustration and regret. Master Kong, you've worked hard. Let's go to another tea house, have a few cups of tea, and rest for a while. Tang Wanyan said with a smile. A Mao Mountain disciple had died here, and the place was in a mess. Tang Wanyan could not afford to stay here any longer, so he decided to change places. Jiang Tian also had an indifferent attitude and nodded lightly. The group arrived at another exquisite tea room. Master Kong, please have some tea. Under Zheng Guangxia's gaze, Zheng Li sat beside Jiang Tian and personally made tea and lit cigarettes for Jiang Tian. At that moment, she really treated Jiang Tian like a god. She was so respectful that her pair of beautiful eyes sparkled. When the other tycoons saw this, they secretly cursed Zheng Guangxia for being a sly old fox. It was obvious that he wanted to give his niece to Jiang Tian. Moreover, they were also wondering if they had any unmarried female relatives of the right age and if they could introduce them to Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian, are you free these days? I'm a member of the stud farm. Are you interested in joining me? How could Zheng Li miss the opportunity to have intimate contact with Jiang Tian? She immediately put on a happy face and snuggled up to Jiang Tian's side, softly begging. Seeing this, Zhao Xueqing suddenly became nervous. Zheng Li was dressed like a city beauty. Her makeup was exquisite, her temperament was extraordinary, and her behavior was elegant and proper. She exuded the unique charm of a mature woman. Zheng Li, I'm sorry. I'm usually very busy. Jiang Tian smiled and held Zhao Xueqing's small hand. He smiled and said, I forgot to introduce you to my old classmate. This is my lover, Zhao Xueqing. Back then, Jiang Tian swept through the world and shocked the world. The pure and clean saintess, the flirtatious seductress, the fiery and passionate witch, and the high and mighty princess. He had seen all kinds of beauties and was already sick of them. Now that he had returned, he only wanted to spend a peaceful and happy time with Zhao Xueqing. Zhengli was not as beautiful as Zhao Xueqing, but she was prettier than Zhao Xueqing. In his eyes, she could not even compare to a strand of his wife's hair. Oh, so this Miss Zhao is your lover, Zhengli's pretty face blushed. She was embarrassed that she was trying to steal someone in front of his wife. She looked at Zhao Xueqing apologetically and smiled. Mrs. Jiang is really beautiful. Yes, our relationship is very good. Hearing Jiang Tian's rejection, Zhao Xueqing's heart was filled with warmth. She proudly puffed out her chest and looked magnanimous. You two are a good match. Zhao Xueqing's temperament was ethereal and elegant. Her face was beautiful, and her figure was exquisite. Although Zhengli admitted that she was a beauty, compared to Zhao Xueqing, she was somewhat ashamed of her inferiority. At this time, Tang Wanyan handed over a check and said happily, Mr. Jiang, this is a check for 200 million. Please keep it well. Why are you giving it to me? I told you to do charity. You can just donate it to those charity foundations. Jiang Tian waved his hand in disgust. Master Kong is really a master. His actions are heroic and detached, natural and unrestrained. Everyone present exclaimed, their faces full of reverence. They were either worth hundreds of millions or were masters of sorcery, but they were still greedy for fame and fortune. However, Jiang Tian treated money like dirt. Compared to Jiang Tian, it was obvious who was superior. Jinren Zhang's state of mind is really admirable. When I go back, I will cultivate in seclusion and get rid of my inner demons. Feng Shui Master Qi sighed and secretly made up his mind. Master Kang's way of doing things is really admirable. Tang Wanyan was shocked and could not believe it. He originally thought that Jiang Tian asked him to donate to charity as an excuse. He did not expect that Jiang Tian did not intend to ask for money at all. He secretly planned to hold a grand donation party to raise as much money as possible so that Jiang Tian would be happy. Third Master Tang. Jiang Tian pondered for a moment and suddenly opened his mouth. I wouldn't dare. Grandmaster Jiang, you're an immortal-like figure who can drive gods and ghosts and slay demons and devils. How could I dare to call myself third master in front of you? Just call me Little Tang. Tang Wanyan smiled flatteringly. Sigh, Mr. Tang has been a hero all his life. How could he have such a weird son? Jiang Tian shook his head helplessly in his heart. However, he asked indifferently, that Ghost King was not born naturally. Instead, it was raised by an expert. Have you offended anyone recently? Humph, if you want to talk about who I have offended, it would be Jiangnan's Wei Shuofeng. Tang Wanyan said angrily. His Jiangnan real estate is competing with me for a piece of land in Linzhou. His subordinates have threatened me. Who dares to compete with the third master in Linzhou? Zhou Zhenghao was shocked and could not believe it. Tang Wanyan was backed by the most powerful political family in Linzhou. However, Wei Shuofeng had reached out to Linzhou and wrestled with Tang Wanyan. Wei Shuofeng is the most powerful tycoon in Yangqing City. He even has a good relationship with the provincial leaders. Tang Wanyan, Zheng Guangsha and Dragon Fifth shook their heads and sighed. Linzhou, Donghai City, and Jiangzhou City were located north of the Pearl River. However, the tycoons of the three cities were all fighting for their own interests. Over the years, they had never unified. Meanwhile, Yangqing City and the other 6 cities were all under Wei Shuofeng's rule. The tycoons and the richest tycoons in the 7 cities followed his lead. When they saw him, they had to lower their heads and address him as Old Man Wei. In terms of wealth, background, and influence, Tang Wanyan, Dragon 5th, and Zheng Guangxia combined couldn't compare to Wei Shuofeng at all. Humph. Rich and powerful. What's so great about that? I can find a few gunmen and shoot him to death. Zhou Zhenghao said with disdain. Dragon 5th shook his head with a wry smile and said seriously, "Little Zhou, you have underestimated him. He has dominated Jiangnan province for decades and has even spread his influence to Hong Kong and Taiwan. He has more than 100 enemies. Who doesn't want to kill him? Yeah, he used to send people from Hong Kong and Zhonghai to interfere with Jiangnan province, but he stopped them all." Tang Wanyan said with emotion. The Wei family is extremely wealthy. He controls the Pearl River waterway and more than half of the coastal ports. He has people, and money. No one in Lingnan province dares to mess with him. Speaking up to this point, he was a little angry. Half a year ago, he sent someone to negotiate with me and asked me to back out of the bidding. Of course, I didn't agree. They threatened me and told me that if I tried to snatch it from them, I would be in trouble. After that, my father contracted a strange disease and the Crouching Dragon Villa. Jiang Tian nodded slightly. It seemed that Wei Shuofeng was indeed a ruthless person. Zhou Zhenghao, Dragon 5th, and the other local tyrants in Lin Zhou could not compare to him. Third Lord, maybe you don't know, at this moment, Mr. Qi, whose face had been deathly pale, suddenly spoke. What? Tang Wanyan was taken aback. The Wei family of Yangcheng is a powerful family that specializes in Dharma cultivation. They are famous in the field of Dharma cultivation and feng shui. Even though the Wei family has not produced a Taoist body cultivator in the past 100 years, they should have a few ethereal enlightenment cultivators. They can summon the wind and rain, turn reeds into swords, and cast beans into soldiers. Normal Dharma cultivation experts would not dare to mess with them. That makes sense. Jiang Tian nodded. In the face of absolute strength, wealth, power, connections, and background were all meaningless. It was no wonder that Wei Shuofeng was able to dominate Jiangnan and force the heroes of Jiangbei to bow their heads. Tang Wanyan said bitterly, "How would I know? Otherwise, I wouldn't have fought for that piece of land. I almost lost a few billion this time." Master Qi shook his head and looked at Jiang Tian with feverish eyes. "Third Lord, we don't have to be afraid of him. No matter how powerful he is, we have Master Kong now." Jiang Tian was powerful enough to defeat Yang Guochang, who was at ethereal enlightenment. He was also a martial arts grandmaster. Someone who practiced both Dharma cultivation and martial arts was a rarity in Huaxia. No matter how powerful Wei Shuofeng was, he would have to stay away from him. Yeah. What Wei Shuofeng? Bullshit. If Master Kong wants to fight him, he will wet his pants. Zhou Zhenghao slapped his thigh and laughed. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.